This program features live coverage of an African safari and may include animal kills and carcasses. Viewer discretion is advised.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to a very grey and drizzly Djuma Private Game Reserve. Davi has been very artistic and showing the water droplets landing on all the vegetation. So hopefully it stays nice and light. Still getting wet, but if it gets heavier, we will have to head indoors and stay dry. But sometimes it's just nice to stop and admire and see the view. Now, everyone's going to be bumbling today, I believe. Some will be looking for lions, Andrew and Steve, and some will be looking for cheetahs. I'm going to try again for the hyenas once again. I'm not going to let the weather stop me. So from all the different locations, it's promising to be an exciting drive. So get ready, everyone. It's time for your live safari through the African bush. Welcome aboard, everyone. It's an absolute pleasure to have you here today. I have already mentioned the weather, so I shall not mention it again. But you can see the skies are very, very heavy. Heavy with rain, but hopefully heavy with some promise of animals as well. We had Tlalamba and Tandy this morning. We just weren't able to show you them, which is rather unfortunate. But my name is Lauren, and I do have Davi on camera today, and we're hopefully going to find some spots for you. If we don't, let's bumble, Davi, let's move. I do have something in store for you. We are going to do a riddle. I'm going to do one riddle per day. Yes, a riddle. I'm going to make it very challenging for you, but as a child, I loved riddles. So we're going to put you guys to the test. Every time you see me, I'll give you a new clue about the riddle. But we'll come to that later. Most importantly, you guys need to know how to talk to us. Yes, you can talk to us. We're live and interactive. So please do use the hashtag WildEarth if you're on Twitter. Or, oh, there's lots of rain coming down nicely onto my car. At FC, if you're on the YouTube chat. If you're under 18, please do talk to us. You email us your questions. And that email address is kidspodquestions@wildearth.tv. Or another option, you can head over to the WildEarth website and register with us and then submit your questions there. So you really have many options and not many excuses not to talk to us. It's not just questions, you can leave comments as well. And to be very honest with you, on days like today, we do need some comments. You do need to make us laugh. When it's rainy and it's wet and it's rather chilly, please do make us laugh. You are more than welcome to. So I'm going to head straight to that hyena den. It wasn't active this morning. But I do have one more important announcement for you all to take note of. Paper, pen, take note. There will be a time change tomorrow in the afternoon and in the morning. So our live safari from South Africa will be starting at 6:30 a.m. until 9:30 CAT. And CAT is Central African time. I'm not talking about the other kind of cats that we see here. Of course, you will need to check what time that is wherever you are in the world. And in the afternoon, it will be a slightly longer safari. We will be starting at 3:30 p.m. until 7:30 p.m. CAT. Okay, so you already know it's not such a great day here in Djuma, but let's go and take a look at the weather across all the locations.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Djuma Private Game Reserve this afternoon, where we got a Kudu right on top of the mound, as they always do when in a thicket. The mound, they pause it for a better view. My name is Andrew. On camera, I have Hippo again this afternoon. This is where we're taking you to. Watch around, look for what we're going to find this afternoon. female kudu. It's a cloudy day out here now, where most of the animals, they prefer to see where there's clear safety wherever they are. Sorry about that. We're just going to make sure the lens cleans. It's drizzling over coast a little bit, but it's going to be all right. So could it just disappear down where it's covered? The reason actually got up into that mound was to look around for their own safety. So I'm going to carry on and maybe slightly move forward if we can get another better view for that animal as a kudu. Doesn't look like it's around anymore. Could be more of them around here, as they hang around in a group of 10, maybe 11 in a group, especially the females. But they prefer thicket because they're browsers. They eat from trees. Oh, it's gone. So now I'm going to be heading up north into Beverstuka Cross, hoping to follow up on the lions that they were seen this morning at the Talamate Parade. So we're going to move around there, look around for them. Hopefully we'll get them before, or we're not sure if they cross into Manyeleti because they were literally right close to the boundary. But we found out. And Manyeleti boundary we're talking about, it's another game reserve. So you're asking what is the population of kudus in Djuma? As far as I know, the number is balanced, but I'm not sure how many of them. They're one of the animals that, they don't, whenever you enjoy sighting of them, it's when they're in that time they're out in the open about, but always in a thicket. But we see kudus from time to time, females in bunch of groups, where males are very rare to see. They're around, but they're very difficult to be found. So let me continue north across to that Beverstuka boundary to look out for our lions. In the meantime, I'll be sending you across to Steve to say hi to everybody.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Eco Training Pridelands this afternoon, where we've caught up with a migratory bird, the European roller. It is a wonderful afternoon, although there is some very sort of low-hanging grey clouds, which are looking like they might rain a little bit. But we are prepared, and we are out and about and excited to have you with us. I hope you're all having a wonderful afternoon. My name is Steve, once again joined by Gert on camera, and our plans for today is to go catch up on that lioness and see if we can find her cubs. Are you keen? No? No one keen? Okay, we won't then. We won't go find lion cubs, everybody. We'll just go somewhere else and do any joking. We are going to go see if we can find that lioness in that area and see if we can maybe get a little bit of cub activity. I saw a little video of the lioness with the cubs. They were sent from... Oopsie. On that note, we're going to move off as the European roller flies off. It flies off. It's going to be migrating soon. Back to Europe, filling up their belly with insects before the long journey. But I was just saying before that we had... I saw a small video of the lioness coming back from that side, sent by one of the landowners on the Boston side, and the cubs are so small, about 3 months. Impressive how far. You reckon about 6 k's, 7 k's? How far they walked? 6 or 7 kilometers or so in the dark. That's one brave mama. Hello Daisy, age 9. You want to know what kind of animals come out in this weather? Well, but really, it's not about coming out, you see. Animals are out. Some of them will hide from this weather, so they'll actually try and shelter to go somewhere where maybe the wind is buffeted from by using the rocks or a drainage line. So often when it's windy like this, I expect to find many of my antelope species down in the drainage line. Alternatively, they might be hidden behind a rocky outcrop. Just anything that buffets the wind, because the wind, first of all, takes away their senses. They can't hear, messes with the smelling, and it also has a very cooling effect, especially in the winter months. So they don't really like to be in the wind, and so many of them, if there's none of that available, go right out into the open where they can see all over the place. But to answer your question correctly, predators often will just get up and start moving in the wind. Often get up and start hunting because of exactly what I was saying. It makes it more difficult. Oh, here we go. Little family of Impala just buffeted over here. So where we are right now, we're buffeted from the wind. So we've just come down from Leopard Kopje, and it's very still now. Just before he came to us, the wind was really pelting from behind us. So this is exactly what they will do. Hide in the foxglove, of course. Little family. We're very close to Leopard Dam now. They probably had a drink and they're now taking it really easy. So in areas where there is geology or topography that can help to shelter the wind, you'll often find animals on the sort of opposite side from the wind. Just like us, we build shelter, not just to keep us dry, but also to protect us from the wind. What are the jackets many people wear? They're called windbreakers. It's to keep us nice and cool, well, warm, should I say. The wind has an amazing cooling effect on a body and its energy. If we're hot, we want to cool down, of course, but if we're not that hot, cooling down actually requires us to generate energy so as to warm up again. And then everything in nature is energy. Everything in nature has an energy cost. And on that note, it is 24 degrees Celsius here today, 75 degrees Fahrenheit, and that young boy is going to be ousted from the herd shortly. The rut is imminent. Still a gentle breeze down here, but you can see the foxgloves are moving in the wind, and the animals do get a little bit jumpy in the wind and also hang out in groups. That's why the male impalas that move off into the rut are so much more vulnerable, because they don't have the benefit of getting lost in the crowd. That's why picking your time to move into a sort of breeding sort of territory area is very important. Impala's alarm calling. Why are they alarm calling? I haven't found them. Impalas of Pridelands very reliable, but I'm going to reverse back because that's where they're looking. They're not quite sure. The vegetation's very, very long here. Could you all hear that? Very nasal, air-pressed sort of sound. Over here. RJ, you want to know if impalas kick while they fight? Yeah, they can, not each other. They do kick the ground and kick their legs in the air for mobility purposes, but fighting with impalas is all with regards to the horns. posturing, physicality, and horns. Sorry, I haven't given you the best view. I'm just trying to have a look in the long grass here if there's anything. But it's just the wind making them jumpy. If they'd seen something, they would continue to be looking. They wouldn't have started feeding again. So I'm trying to think of any animals that do kick when they fight. Zebras are one. And giraffe kick when they're defending themselves against predators. They don't kick each other. That would be quite interesting, especially that front downward kung fu chop that they do. Imagine a pair of big male giraffes kung fuing each other. I think that imagery would be quite funny. Okay, well, we're going to move around. These impalas seem to be relaxed. We are planning on finding our lioness, so we want to do so before too late, because obviously there's going to be no viewing of her after dark. And it sounds or feels to me like it might be feeding time. Feeding time? It's very possible. Very possible. But along the way, we will still check for tracks, because she might have come down to drink. The impalas don't know what they're doing. This direction, that direction, not really sure. Okay, very good. Well, we're going to carry on here. We found our lioness for you, and hopefully some cubs. Meantime, back to Lauren over in Djuma.
Now, who is responsible for this little piece of feces? It is, in fact, this monstrous caterpillar. A hairy caterpillar at that. Now, I don't know what species of caterpillar this is, but it could be a moth, it could be a butterfly. It's very, very difficult to tell. And this one is strikingly beautiful. I'm sure Davi's giving you wonderful views of all the sort of hairs that are sticking out of this one's body. Now, although insects have 6 legs, arachnids have 8, insects have 6. The sort of larvae of moths and butterflies, i.e. caterpillars, they actually have what you would call prolegs. They're not really legs. You can call them prolegs or false legs, and they're sort of sucker-like. They have a sort of sucker motion. They're not officially what we would call a leg, and these are attached to their abdomen, not the thorax, so it's a little bit different, and it helps them cling, it helps them move. And there's different sort of types of movement. So for caterpillars, they normally have 5 pairs of these abdominal legs. So that's obviously 10 legs in total, which sort of defies the rules of being an insect. But most of them only have really 2 functional pairs, and that's exactly why they're called false legs or prolegs. And you get these type of caterpillars that will walk along on their prolegs, but you'll also get the looper caterpillars. Now, the looper are the ones that make that sort of really strange movement where their entire body will loop around, and then they'll stretch out again, and then they'll loop around, and then they'll stretch out again. And they're actually changing their grip between different legs, and what's happening is that they're achieving this hydraulically. Whereas this little caterpillar that you're looking at right now is not a looper, and that means that they're achieving their movement by muscular action. So they're using muscular sort of action or muscle power of the body and the little sucker legs to power them along. Whereas the loopers, they're using hydraulics to power them along. And that's why they end up making this very, very strange little loop. And for a looper caterpillar, if it ends up getting a puncture or a thorn or something happens to it, it will actually lose the ability to walk. It will sort of leak, if you like, which doesn't sound very pleasant. And unfortunately, it would not survive. Now, I'm going to have to move this caterpillar off our vehicle at some point, because hairy caterpillars can be very, very bad for skin. Mindy, I think you just asked this. Now, I'm not going to touch the individual here, but all these little hairs all along the body. They're actually incredibly long in this individual. It can cause a severe reaction. Davi's had a terrible experience with it, and I have had a terrible experience, or many in the Maldives. Once they touch the skin, I'm not actually sure what the chemical is. I would be really interested to know exactly how it works, but it can really cause a severe reaction of the skin, rashes, burns, and it's very, very painful. And that all comes from hairy caterpillars. So I won't keep this individual on the bonnet. As much as I don't sort of believe in touching animals, definitely do not want this individual ending up on my legs, where I could end up having a reaction. That's not what you want. But it's a very big one. I'm just going to put this stick here. And you can see that as caterpillars get really big and really fat, like this individual, that's their sort of larval stage coming to an end. And that's where they're either going to form a cocoon or a chrysalis, depending on whether they're a moth or a butterfly. And they'll get ready for the pupal stage. But in their larval stage, it's all about eating. And they really don't travel very far. So I don't know how this caterpillar got here, but it needs to go. Lizzie, you're saying, what a beautiful caterpillar. Yes. Stunning, but dangerous. Deadly beauty right here. Not quite deadly, but it's very, very, very severe. Some people react worse than others. Of course, everyone's got different skin and different reactions. And some people can actually even go into sort of an anaphylactic. Oh, look, Dobby. Look who's crossing the road in front of us. Hello, guys. 3 little piglets. Now, we did actually see them earlier, and what's slightly worrying is there's no adult. These are very young little piglets, and I don't see a mum. Definitely worrying. Now, wait a little while before I move you, but please, please don't move yourself. Okay, I'm going to choose a nice little tree to put my caterpillar on and see what else we can find.
It's the month of March and WildEarth is offering you the chance to win a brand new prize. Sign up to be a WildEarth explorer and you could win a 5-day eco-training ranger experience for 2. Eco-training is the pioneer and leader in safari guide and wildlife training in Africa. The lucky winners can look forward to approaching dangerous game on foot, tracking and 4x4 driving, learning about animal behavior, and even spending one night sleeping out under a blanket of stars. In addition, you will also get the exclusive opportunity to join the WildEarth team on the broadcasting vehicle. Sign up to be an explorer now, and it could be you that wins this life-changing experience. Terms and conditions apply.
Sometimes love wants to make you sing. And sometimes love wants to make you bow and fan your wings to your bow. For the southern yellow-billed hornbill, these are signs that love is in the air. These birds are destined for a season of monogamy at least. Breeding pairs are in it for the survival of their chicks. But before love commences, the male needs to woo his valentine with food in the form of nuptial gifts.
My name is Ross and I'm a field guide at andBeyond Phinda Private Game Reserve. I love getting questions from guests on WildEarth because I love sharing and learning information about nature with new people, and it also makes me feel like you're all joining me in real life. If you want to ask a question on WildEarth, then you need to register on our website. Once registered, go to our live safari page and submit your question below our live feed.
Hello, boy. You are a monster. And he's coming right up to us. Hello, boy. Oh, settle down. Settle down. He is very, very close. He's pushing his trunk against the car. You can feel the car moving. Hey, 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 hey. Stop that.
Expect the unexpected here on WildEarth daily.
So we are now in this position where the lion was last seen in its dam here. It's very much close to that Manyelet boundary on the western side, where we haven't been down in that boundary to check, but for the time being we got a beautiful hippos in this waterhole. As you can see, they are just showing off there. Looks like it's not deep enough for them to sink down, so that's what they lack pretty much in this weather. So once it's dark, they would definitely come out. And as there are few of them there, they will all lead in the same direction, most of the females. Sometimes the dominant male will separate for a short while he's checking his boundary territory, reactivate. Where a lot of time these animals that scent marked by chemical or defecations, a lot of the time during this kind of a rain weather like this, the whole scent goes to washed off by the wet. Kathy, so you're asking how hippos stay so still in the water. Even where it's a very deep water, where really they don't really like very much deep water, but they have to be in there because they can float instead of swim, and that's where they could balance themselves. When they're not actually displaying or doing much, they can freeze, and then water will control the whole body of the animal, appear their nostrils for breathe every now and then. But there where we see them, all of them touching the ground where they're standing. It's shallow a little bit, not deep. Rosalind, so you're asking how dangerous are hippos? They are very dangerous. They're actually deadly animals. We understand they're not part of the big five, but they are very much dangerous though. At night, whatever's in front of them, whatever's swim around where they are, they don't tend to like it so much, especially cats, human, anything that could kill them. They always aim to focus on that and possible to get killed if you're around in a hippo. So they are deadly animal though. But these killing situations all animal that they would use their mouth or horn or whatever tusk is. They talk about elephants. It's all about self-defense. So they feel provoked. Even though animal that they're not dangerous. Impalas, even Kudu though, if you corner them, for example, they don't have a way out. And then of course they may run to you, force of a survive. You may have serious injury from that animal trying to get away from you. So killing for them, it's not all about killing to feed or to eat and that. They actually vegetarian. They eat plants, grasses, a short grass. So once it's dark, when they get out, they sometimes travel far enough for them to was a beautiful honking there, the sound they make. So we're going to continue our journey to check that western boundary here for those lions. In the meantime, I'll be sending you to Busan in Phinda to say hi to everybody.
Wow, we have found the female leopard. It's really nice to see Andrew with our hippos. But we've got a female leopard. And hello everyone, my name is Busani. And I was driving along here. We just spotted this female leopard resting up in a tree here. And you can just see, just on the right hand side of the tree there, you can just see that white tail hanging down. So that was a giveaway position of that leopard. Otherwise, if the tail was in one of the branches, it was going to be impossible for us to be able to spot that female leopard. But it seems like where she's sitting at the moment, she's very comfortable. You can see that she's been here for quite some time. And you see the branch around her face as well. It's been flattened, so which means she's been here for quite some time. And strange enough, this morning we were driving around here, the whole area, looking for her. And we couldn't find her. And now, here we go, yeah, she is. So which means the reason why we didn't find her this morning, it's because she maybe perhaps had a carcass here close by. So she was busy feeding on it, because if they do have a carcass in the area, they do tend to spend a lot of time around the carcass. And perhaps the reason why she moved away from it, it's because of the flies. There would be a lot of flies in the area where they caught something. But she's very comfortable where she is at the moment. You can just see the back legs in between the branches there as well. Alison, she does have a name. We named her by the area where we first found her. So we know her name is Tamankosi female. Tamankosi female, it's where she was born. She was born up in a big mountain, in one of the big mountains here in Phinda Private Game Reserve, or Phinda andBeyond. And she's been spending a lot of time around the area where we are at the moment. And she also does go into the area of where she was born, around in Tabankosi mountain. But have a look on her face, just below the eye. You can just see the white fur. So that white fur, the main aim to let more light into the eyes, so that they can see a little bit better than the prey species. So So if she does have a carcass in this area, you can just see behind the trees where she is. There's a lot of thickets. It's where she will hide her carcass away from vultures. And here, because we don't have a lot of predators like hyenas, and so they don't really host their carcasses up on the trees. They do prefer to be just in the ground. Unless if they spot hyenas in the area, then she may pull the carcass up. You can see how long her whiskers around her mouth. Very, very long. It's because they're adapted to live in a very dense environment. So they do rely on those whiskers to feel if they're gonna feed through, if they're hunting something or stalking something. Tabiso, leopard do hunt in the daytime sometimes. If they spot opportunity, they will definitely avoid the same female leopard catching. She caught in one stage, she caught like 5 different Impala lambs in one spot. It was really unbelievable to see it. Even in the daytime, if enough cover for her to stalk, she will definitely go for it, because they don't know when it's going to be the next meal for them. So whatever opportunity presents itself, they will go for it. But she's sitting there very nice and comfortable. If she does spot any opportunity to be so, even from far away, if she sees that it's a very good opportunity, she will definitely go for it. You can see. Oh wow! I think we're gonna move away a little bit from this animal. Because she's not doing anything for now. We'll then come back a little bit later and see what she's gonna do.
Thanks, Busan. Good luck. What are we now? Stopping here, looking at this beautiful tree where we're looking at the Migratory bush, where it's well commonly used trees for tooth brushes, or you can brush your teeth using one of these branches if you actually disconnect them very well, and they peel a little bit of this bark and they chew that into a brush. But this time of year, what you experience there, it's all the fruits that they're all ripe, and you can able to see the details of those not ripe yet, and those all ripe will be feast for all birds, species, baboons, and all monkeys. So we're on that boundary, all the impalas and everybody there, and a sign of maybe that lions have crossed into Prrivate Game Reserve in that boundary. But now it's pouring slightly, the rain, so I decided to stop here. I mean, it's always so good to stop when it's hard rain, see how it goes then. Okay, so you're asking if it tastes like grapes. It's pretty much different taste, and where the grapes is very much, I know there's a different taste depending on which soil they grow in, but same with these plants. Depending on, usually they grow around where it's dark soil, and then it actually some places where you got very much sweet taste, and some area you got very much sour, but a lot of juice and a little stone. So each of these fruit, it's got a little stone in it. So that's why you could not actually eat them like grapes do, or you would do to grapes, or most of the other fruits, where you can collect the whole bunch and put in the mouth, but you all make sure that you suck all juices and you throw the stone away as human. Of course, the fruit are all eatable by human, but monkeys and those baboons, they take the whole things, swallow the whole stones and things, and not a problem with them. So early morning, where you got birds gathering around, all type of sorts of birds, starlings, hornbills, and there's a grey taraco or luri, a go-away bird. They all get around, feed in this. This is where a lot of hawks will focus on as birds all combine, because now they're disturbed, they will attract by feed that's around, forgetting to watch out. And then, of course, the trees, the plant itself, the roots would use for boil them into medicine for a child. Would help a little bit of digest, and a little children drink a little bit of half a teaspoon of that water after it's boiled. Make sure it's cooled off a bit. Next, can you repeat that question again? So you're asking if the starling birds would also feed on these fruits? Yes. So as starling, you got all the different, a few species of those starlings all get around, feed in this fruit. But those are birds that don't actually like hawks and things, because they are a reptile where they feed on meat. And then, of course, they won't feed in this fruit. But many of the other birds, doves even, they'll eat on them. But wherever you see them get around so much of sound, where all birds call about, and the weakest get out, because then it's all something to do with about the power that is pulled in. The strongest get in, the weakest get out. So now I'm changing my route, traveling slightly south where the rain is actually pouring from the south. So I might have to maybe continue to the maybe northeast, away from it, see if I can maneuver around this rain.
WildEarth is launching a brand new bushwalk from Pride Lands, with a slew of potential dangers lurking. It's essential to be aware of your surroundings whilst walking in the wilderness.
20 yards away from one of the most endangered species. This is a big bull.
What a moment, what a close encounter with an Ellie bull. He's just over here now. He's moved completely away.
Being on a bushwalk and seeing a leopard, I mean, it's ridiculous to be this close to a leopard on foot and for him not to run is absolutely insane. How crazy was that?
Through the gap there is just the back of the head of a male lion. He is absolutely unaware that we are here right now. I tell you, seeing lions on foot, it definitely brings out the caveman in you, this little scared human being.
Riverbeds are a great way to find water and look for places where elephant have excavated hollows. You can then dig into the sand, and after a couple of feet you should find damp sand which then can be squeezed out or siphoned off for water. And with water being one of our scarcest resources, it is a good idea to conserve water where and how you can.
My name is Taylor McCurdy and I work for Eco Training. I love hearing from all of the viewers. However, I particularly enjoy those of you who have been watching for a few years. Your questions are just so advanced and they really get me thinking. If you'd like to ask a question on WildEarth, you need to register on our website. Once you've done that, head to the live safari page and submit your questions below the live feed.
Guys, just watch what's happening. See, watch the elephants, watch the lions. See, the first ones to run are the cubs. Can you see them? They are right here. I'm not sure how scared you were, but I was quite nervous. Absolutely incredible.
Expect the unexpected here on WildEarth daily.
So welcome everyone. So what do we see here? It's very interesting things. You know, we were thinking of driving opposite way, away from the rain, because it's pouring hard, you know. But as we go just a little inch from where we were, it looks like it's a young leopard sitting in a tree there, hiding away from the rain, as you can see. But I'm not sure yet which one that could be. We are Trample M, just the southern side of a Gary Gate at this position. But it's far from us, so it's like, what, maybe 60 yards? 70 yards away from us. And looks like always keeping an eye on us. If it's one of the leopard from the west. I'm not sure. So leopards are very solitary animals. Even still, so you're asking how many cubs a leopard can have in a year. So leopard, once they breed or give birth to a cubs, normally 2, 1 or 2, 3 could be sometimes, but normally 2, and raise their cubs for about almost 2 years before they come independent, or 2 years already coming independent. So yeah, they actually take care of their cubs over a year or then 2 years before she conceive or tolerate, look for another pregnancy again when his cubs are 2 years old. Cool. That it's also been identified that by the viewers that it's actually an unknown young leopard that has been seen around here, and it's also the information that it's a little skittish animal. So as we set away from it, but you can see how it's always can't keep their eyes from us, just to make sure. It's all about trust. But it won't get away. We actually can't off-road, which is a good thing or not good thing. Wish you can get closer, but as a leopard that is skittish, you rather stay away from him so you can get a better visual for longer. Jackson, so you're asking if the leopards are aggressive towards human. Yes, indeed they are. And leopards in the wild, we rather stay away from them, but give them space. And they're very much aggressive towards human, especially those with the cubs. You're more likely to be killed if you're around them on foot. And there's an injured leopard. Becomes aggressive because they cannot move immediately when you're near them. But generally in the wild, we track them on foot, but the minute we find them, it's all about comfortable zone and all critical zone, and then you know that. Once you spot that animal, you move out of the way, you get a car, drive around in. So I'm going to stay put here and then reestablish this log for everyone. I'm going to be sending you across to Tswalu to say hello to everybody.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to Tswalu Kalahari. We've just driven past this beautiful, gorgeous waterhole, and we just couldn't afford to drive past this gorgeous scene. It was just so beautiful, as we've seen a couple of water birds in this area as well, and a beautiful giraffe. So I am Johan, on being your guide in the Kalahari this afternoon, and behind the camera is Morgan, and we will be your team in the Kalahari this afternoon. So just to take you back to those water birds that I was talking about, there's some beautiful Egyptian geese that we found on the water here as well. As you see that one that Morgan is zooming into, look at that stunning colorations around the eyelids as he comes through there. He's also got a few babies on this water point, and those of you that's been watching WildEarth for a while would also know that this is the point where Dylan has been sitting quite a few afternoons watching water birds and mongoose and brown hyena and all sorts of things coming into the spot. But yeah, this is one of the birds that's quite commonly found at this water point. Off to that guy's left hand side, there is actually a couple of blacksmith lapwings as well. Now, those of you that's been watching the show 2 days ago, we've actually had, yeah, there we go. Morgan is actually framing some of the Egyptian geese youngsters on the water there as well. But yeah, talking about the blacksmith lapwing, as I was saying, about 2 days ago, we had those lions at one of the waterholes in the east of the reserve. And then I was talking about the blacksmith lapwings and explaining about how their call sounds like a blacksmith, a human blacksmith tapping on iron, actually. So if you look at that in the screen, that is the actual culprit that you see coming through there. Now, what I want to do is, that's stunning colors actually on that blacksmith lapwing. I was going to show you the pictures in the book, but they're actually walking nicely in the screen. So I'm going to just go pull a tiny bit forward. As you see, there's a beautiful giraffe bull that just came to join us at the water point here. So it'd be very nice to actually see this guy drinking and go through that formation of what he's doing there. Let's just try not to disturb him though. Just pull up to his side here. Go slowly, and there we go. So, be so cool to see this guy drinking here, because giraffes is one of the animals in the bush that actually got some of the biggest hearts of most of your mammalian life. And so the thing is, they've got such a big, strong heart muscle, because as they have that strong, long muscular neck structure, they need to pump a huge amount of blood up to all the way to the brain, and that is why they need the strength from the heart, strong heart, big muscle system, and that obviously causes a big high blood pressure. So the moment they drop down to drink, giraffes could actually drink themselves to unconsciousness, if I can put it that way, because if they drink for too long and the head actually drops for too long below the heart, and the heart's level or the height, then they actually could actually burst a vein on in their brain actually and get into trouble. So giraffes, you'll see, we kind of hoping for that dropping motion now. That's why you'll see he drinks very nicely, and then after about a good 10 seconds, if he goes longer than that, he's in trouble. That's why he shoots suddenly up. It's almost like he's in a breather. So let's wait for that moment. It's about to appear shortly. Francine, age 13, you're asking, do you ever get dwarf giraffe here? No, you only get the normal southern giraffe in the southern green Kalahari region, as we are. And but yeah, those guys, you don't find them in the Kalahari. Also, that's not the right climate, not the right environment for them. But yeah, guys, just quickly coming back to what this animal is doing here. I mean, this is incredible. There's the go. There we go. The southern coming up and the S-bend of water in the air. But just so cool seeing that motion. And he knows that he can't drink water for too long at a certain given time. So it goes on to a point where he would drink at most about 15 seconds or so. And then he comes quickly up, just because he would be starting to be getting actually to a dizzy point. We could actually faint. So yeah, that high blood pressure all rushes down to the head once it drops too low below the heart level. Look at that long black tongue coming out there as well. Just gorgeous. Such a stunning shot of this beautiful giraffe bull. And what's quite amazing is there is a lot more approaching the water point. So just for something else, I think we're going to spend a tiny bit of time at this water point actually, because the thing is, we have, while we've been off air this morning, we've been trying to follow up on cheetah this morning, and we've been following up, myself and Morgan and the team, we were following up on 2 males in a coalition, 2 big males. And so as we've been tracking in an area just further south of here, which is partly the reason why we came past the waterhole here on our way down south. We tracked for a long distance but couldn't manage to find them yet. So one of our excellent trackers this afternoon, as trackers are quite important in the Kalahari's ecosystem, he is busy following up there furthermore on the last tracks that we had this morning. So while we are waiting for our fantastic tracker to continuously track further down south on those cheetahs, I think with these giraffes coming through here, it'd be very nice. Would be very, very nice to have these animals all coming in to drink, and it will be awesome to see all of these lightly colored giraffe actually that we can see on approach in the further distance. It'd be nice to see them all coming in to drink, so we'd love to show you that even later as they're all approaching the waterhole here. We're going to send you back over to Phinda with another awesome speciality.
Wow, we have found the head of elephant. Have a look how they're enjoying this lush green grass. This is amazing. So the reason why they're out in the open here, it's because of this lush green grass that they're after. And have a look at the female in the front. She's got very skewed tusk. And she's got a tusk that's facing down and one that's facing forward as well. And if you notice on her neck, she's also have a collar, a radio collar. So that is to monitor their movement and see how much damage do they cause in the area where they move through. And you can see the one on the other side, she's slightly bigger than the one close to us. So we only call it the matriarch of the head, because within the head there will be a few different families, but they all move together. So mostly here in Phinda and beyond, there's a strange behavior of elephants. So the head of elephant here, they do move together. If they sense that there's a rain that's coming, they all rushes in the south because they want to enjoy the lush green grass. They do like the certain type of grass that's growing around this area, which is known as a buffalo grass. Look at that one, resting some of the leaves or the reeds on her tusk, between the tusk and the trunk. Real though, the elephant teeth, they don't really grow back if one of that tusk has been pulled off. So it's gonna be like that for the entire life. That's amazing how she's holding that reeds. Look at that, shaking it and putting it back onto her mouth. So, but then the elephant, they've got like 6 sets of teeth in their stage. So we only, the humans, they only have 2 sets of teeth, our male teeth and our old teeth. They've got like 6 sets of teeth. And when the other teeth one are down, the other ones will push through. So if they get to the last stage of their teeth, then they cannot chew on something that's very hard, like branches or roots. So what they will do is they will go around the waterhole or around the rivers where there's nice and soft reeds, and they will feed on those reeds. Seems like they're slowly moving away, so we're gonna follow them slowly as well. It's unbelievable how they cover such a very, very very, very strong, I would say so. Wow. This wow. This
Back with us. Sorry about that technical issue that happened there. And we're still sitting here peacefully with our young leopard. And then it's only us. I already reestablished the lock over here. Looks like the only one vehicle that is interested to join us, which is good. Then we have time to look at that, to see what it's going to do for us finally later on. A leopard hunt on their own since they are solitary cats. They don't actually combine or be in a big group. Only when a female take care of their cubs, or when a male and a female's hooked up. So Lucy, asking me why do leopard resting during the day? So they are a nocturnal animal. And most of those nocturnal animals, they're more likely to get to move when it's dark. Where now what we see here, leopard and the lion in this area, wherever these cats exist, they can move when it's quietly or conditioned like this during the day. They can move, but they can rest for a while when they want to, when they get tired of moving. And for them moving in the daylight, it's all lost of energy. They spend a lot of their energy, move, attempt to kill, but they come visible because it's a daylight. They have to retry over and over until there's success. But that it's about the same with a pride of lions or lions. A lot of energy they use during the day, but not to kill because they come visible quite in the open. So rather prefer night where they come success in killing. So, is asking if leopards ever form coalition. The male lions form coalition of brothers when they're related, of 5 related brothers, coalition of males. So leopards, it's called leap of leopard when they now's collective, but they don't actually form coalition, even though there's males around. So female and the males, they would be very much solitary, not to form a group. So even though the female give birth to 2 cubs, when they come independent, when she rejects them, so each one of them as a twin, they would be separate from one another. Each one would take its own route, and they won't like to be joined again. It's one vehicle is about to join us. As you can hear the sound coming from the back. So I'm going to reposition here for 2 vehicles to get a have a look. I'm going to be sending you across to Tswalu.
Welcome back, folks. So we are still at this beautiful waterhole that we had earlier on being sitting and waiting at. And as you can see, these female giraffes, our bull has moved off a bit further as he's feeding on a buffalo thorn tree at the moment. But yeah, these females are slowly but surely just coming into this area. As you can see, they are quite thirsty as they're trying to push through to the water. But looking at the bull and even at us from that point of view. So eventually they're going to push past us. And yeah, at the moment we're a good 60 meters off from them. As you can see, it's quite a far distance there. And so the thing is that they slowly but surely are making their way in to the water point. The wind is still, like this morning, actually still coming in from the northeastern direction. So these giraffe, from a safety point of view, have come in from the southwestern side, walking straight into the wind, into the waterhole's direction. So just because of that situation, just out of a safety point of view, there's a lot of young giraffe in this herd coming in together here. The light is very sharp in that direction that we have at the moment, but yeah, we don't want to really unnecessarily move at this point, just out of the sake of not really disturbing these giraffe. It'll be very nice to see the whole tower coming through to drink at this given point. Like we had obviously the bull earlier, and can you imagine that gorgeous lineup at the edge of the waterhole if we could get them all coming through to drink. So you'll see the colors on these giraffes that is coming through here is quite lighter in color as opposed to the bull that we had earlier on. Excuse me. And so the thing is that they So the thing is, just as I was saying earlier, that these giraffe being light in color, that you get quite a bit of lighter colored giraffe from a certain type of gene with bloodlines, as it is. And so these bloodlines will create darker or lighter giraffes. So it's actually quite cool just seeing the light colors coming through there. We're going to send you over to a very interesting sighting on the eastern side of the country.
I think we may have Tandy and Cub. We have 2 leopards, but I haven't actually been able to identify them yet. I can only see a blur of spots. And of course the grass is so long. Oh no. We had perfect visuals just a moment ago. Where have you gone? There's definitely two. And I guess it's Tandy and Maribes. But it could also be Kuchava and her little son as well. Okay, I'm going to try and go forward just a little bit. It's so easy to lose a leopard these days and the grass is this long. Never mind a leopard. 2 leopards. There we go.
Yeah.
That's not Tandy. And I don't think it's Maribes, is it? Davi, can I just see that left ear? Is this Kuchava? It's definitely not Tandy. Hello. Hey, beautiful. Now, why I thought it was Tandy is because we've actually came to the site where there was a report of a kill this morning, and it was a baby in Ngala, as far as I'm aware. And it was Tandy's kill. Then Tandy crossed into Chitwa, where we went after this morning trying to find her, and to no avail, of course. The monkeys saw her, but we did not. And I wonder if Kuchava and son have now found this kill. Now, I'm looking for confirmation from you all if this is Kuchava, but it's not Tandy and it's not Maribes. So if there's another leopard here, then that could mean that it's Kuchava's son. Now, for those of you who are maybe unsure, Kuchava is Tandy's daughter, and their territories lie next to each other, just like Tandy's lies next to Tlalamba, because it's better to have your neighbour close to you rather than a stranger. Not your neighbour, sorry. Your relative as a neighbour rather than a stranger. Keep your sort of bloodline close, and therefore you will find that Tandy and Kuchava's territories blur in. And thank you, James Richard, you're confirming it. Well, I have to say I'm surprised. Abby and I came here looking for Tandy, and lo and behold, we get Kuchava. I haven't seen Kuchava in quite some time. But there's definitely another leopard here, so her son is here. I just don't exactly know where in the long grass. Oh, Davisito has spotted another leopard. Now, you may notice that we are off-road. We're marginally off-road. We're just north of the fire break. We're quite high up on the Katina, not down in the seep lines or the drainage lines. And we are allowed to off-road with given permission from the proper manager. Oh, he's got the kill. Oh my God, he's huge. When did you get so big? These leopards are just growing far too fast. The sons, and I mean Kuchava's son and Maribes, and even Shasha, are outgrowing their mothers already at quite a young age. I don't want to turn on the engine right now. I have had sightings with Kuchava's son where he can be a little bit, I don't know if skittish is the right word, but sometimes a little bit nervy. So we'll wait till he gets settled with his stolen kill. And there you go. This was Tandy's kill as far as I know. And they came along and scavenged it. If the information that I have is correct, they all steal from one another. It's so nice to see them. Doesn't Kuchava just look like her mum? I've mistaken them before. Lots of people mistake them. They get called on the radio as each other all the time. But Tandy has 3 really visible sort of notches missing out of her left ear. And Kuchava's left ear is perfect. So if you're ever confused, that's the way to tell. Darby, I think I might go forward and see if we can get the sun. Bear with us, everyone. Not the actual sun. the actual sun is not out today. I am meaning Kutava's sun. RVJ, you're saying what a wonderful, beautiful sighting. Yes, I know. I'm over the moon because I'm cold and wet, dreaming of that perfect cup of Earl Grey with a splash of honey. So this has definitely made my afternoon. I'm just moving really cautiously here. He's just round the corner. I don't want to scare him. I didn't see if it was definitely an Ngala, but it was a young antelope that he's got in his mouth. I can just see him here, Gav. How shall I position? Okay. Okay, I'm going to try and reposition very carefully, and hopefully we'll get a lovely view of our mother and son.
Welcome back, folks. So we have this giraffe females just coming through the edge of the thickets. You can see it's quite dense here at this position that we're looking at the moment. There's a clearer section where there's another female, as Morgan is framing her up there. We decided to change position a bit just because it seemed like these guys are going to come to the southern side of the waterhole, moving in rather straight in from downwind position, as they can't really see on the other side of these dense bushes yet closer to the water point. But as I was saying earlier, with the light colors on these giraffe, it's very interesting seeing that beautiful light color on this female walking through, and all of the rest in this group is actually quite light in color. So there's a few theories that goes why giraffe is so light in color, and this you get with about 70 to 80% of giraffe in the Kalahari. And there's a belief that the amount of exposure to a great amount of sunlight is what tanned the fur to get to a much lighter color, actually. But if you come to the real thing of coloration of animals in total, and this you get with lions, you get this with lighter colored wild dogs, you get it to darker wild dogs. Bottom line is with all animals, if you look at this giraffe particularly on this female versus the one that is just coming out onto the right hand side here as well now, you'll see that that it's extremely light in color. So abnormally light. Like I've even seen giraffes in the Kalahari that's actually got like, it's almost like to a white appearance, and it's not a leucistic form, but it comes down to the amount of, well, the type of genes that's present in the bloodlines will create the differentiation between the different colors and have the influence on the pigmentation of the fur itself. So that is why you get dark giraffes and light giraffes and even lighter giraffes. And so there's a theory that goes where people say that, okay, well, bulls are dark and females are light. That is actually, it's a bit far-fetched, because the thing is, it truly comes down to the bloodlines with the coloration of animals, bloodlines being influenced by the genes that it influences the entire picture. It's like us as humans having a formation where you'll have your dad, for instance, has got darker hair or lighter hair, and you got your dad's formation of coloration on his side of the family, shall I say. So it all truly comes down to the coloration of the bloodlines. Amazing how he's feeding on the camel thorn tree there at the moment. So beautiful. Omar, you commenting and saying giraffes are your favorite animal. It is quite a spectacular animal. It is really, really incredible looking at giraffes as a group unity. Your bulls obviously being very solitary animals, and in that formation being quite solitary, it's as they come and go between the female herds in amongst the group, where your females are generally in big herds together, and together with that whole combination of bulls coming and going between female herds, and just seeing the bigger picture with females in the herds as well. It's amazing to just see that big towers and herds, shall I say, walking together. So yeah, amazing to see this bull feeding on the tree, but yeah, looking at the nice combination of all of the females coming in together as well. It's amazing. Just look at that. Well-designed lips just feeding around those thorns and spines as we spoke about it. Check how he strips that edges of the twigs over there on the edge of the camel thorn tree. It's almost like we could see how dense the leaves was at that given point, and suddenly it just gets stripped where the smaller spines and thorns just folds forward as he strips it off. But very well-designed lips to feed around those thorns and everything that you're looking at there. But yeah, truly amazing creatures.
If you love to watch WildEarth, then we are inviting you to join our Explorers program. For a monthly subscription, you will have the opportunity to win fantastic WildEarth expeditions. Join our guides for a chat around the fire, receive weekly highlights from our shows, and much more. All the money will go to keeping these live safaris on air, which in turn allows us to escape into nature every single day.
So in 1998, we had this idea to go and put a live web camera on a waterhole somewhere in the Sabi sands next to the Kruger National Park. And I approached just about every single landowner, and everybody thought I was completely crazy until I met Yuri and Pippa Moorman.
We thought it was definitely a fun idea and a worthwhile thing to experiment.
And it immediately became a runaway success. And it gave people all around the world the opportunity to watch a little piece of Africa day and night. Back in 1998, it was the very early stages of the internet. And all we were able to do was to get a 30-second refreshing JPEG out of that camera. But over time, what we began to do is focus more and more on trying to develop this concept of giving people the opportunity to go on safari.
Even though we live just 500 meters up this hill, we still put the camera on to see what's happening.
Absolutely, we watch it ourselves.
My name is Lauren, and I'm currently working in Djuma Private Game Reserve here in South Africa. I love answering your questions during the live safaris. It's my favorite part. It feels like you're on the vehicle with me, and I'm able to teach you exactly what you want to know. If you want to ask a question on WildEarth, then you need to register on our website. Once registered, you must go to the live safari page and ask your question below the live feed.
We have a baby pangolin, a baby pangolin. This is off the charts. This animal is about from your fingertips to your elbow. That's the total length of this animal. This is unreal. This is unreal. This is unreal. This is like now my 4th Christmas in a week. We should do this more often.
Tune into WildEarth every single day. It's in your nature.
Now we've managed to get better visuals of the sun. I like to call him Batman. He's crunching through bones here. You can probably hear it. Batman is not his official name, but if you look at his forehead, he looks like he's got a big bat. Now, he was born on October, which is my birthday month, 2019. So as far as I'm aware, he's not got a name yet, but he really should be named very soon, I would imagine. But Batman's just great. Can you see the bat, Davy? Can you hear that? That's the bones. To me, it looks like quarantine, but yes, I'm speculating. Kutrawa's territory does include Torchwood. It's more the eastern side of Torchwood, sort of in between Tande and Ikanyene. Casper. You know, Casper, I've just been thinking. I It was called in as Tandy's kill, but a lot of people get Kuchava and Tandy muddled up. Really, a lot. Sometimes I've been called to Kuchava thinking it was Tandy. So I'm wondering, possibly, if it actually was Kuchava's kill, and she's just came back for it. So Casper, I know you're saying you can't believe he stole Grandma's kill. It's possible, yes, but I'm wondering if it was Kuchava's all along. I will try and put my very best to find out. But if they did steal Grandma's kill, that's very naughty. Grumpy Grandma Tandy. Her lineage is thriving. Really, really thriving. She's such an excellent female leopard. Exactly what a leopard should be. Tad grumpy, tad sassy, tad fantastic. It's amazing. Tandy this morning, Kalamba this morning, now Kuchava. Although we weren't able to show you Kalamba, she was full of beans, bouncing up and down. We just can't go into the Milwati right now, unfortunately. But I'm sure she'll make an appearance sometime soon. Let's just listen to him crunch. Standing by.
Yeah, I'm approaching Ruanini. What is the better approach?
Copy. Travel east on Gowrie Main and you'll see my tracks go north, cross the fire break, and you should see me. Follow my tracks.
Okay. Tswalu driveway.
Past Chitwa driveway, keep going east and you will see lots of tracks turning north. Sorry everyone, we're the only vehicle in this sighting and I think lots of people are really excited to see a leopard or two. So we're just guiding them in. My apologies. Let's now listen to him eat. Sadly, you cannot hear him crunching. It's very, very loud. Crunch, crunch, crunch. He's a hungry Horus. There's nothing worse than sitting at the table when someone's eating very loudly. It's exactly what it sounds like right now. But yes, as I was saying, so it's obviously not linear, but Kuchava sort of sits in between Tandy and Ikanyeni, if you like. And Quarantine sort of rules over this area as well. He's a dominant male, mostly found on Torchwood. I'm not really sure how far Milwati pushes this way. But both Kuchava, Tandy and Sabi are actually spending a lot of time on Chitwa right now. 3 dominant leopardesses, each with cubs, all sort of found on Chitwa in very close proximity to one another. And Chitwa is an incredibly small property. So they all sort of weave in and out of one another's territories. They're all aware of one another. They can all recognize each other's chemical signature. And Kuchava will absolutely know that Tandy is her mother. Tandy will know that Kuchava is her daughter. It's more beneficial for Tandy to have Kuchava nearby than it would be to have Sabi, for example. Even although they may not have sort of tender encounters and it may not be loving between them, it's more beneficial. Lucinda, yes, he is. Marginally. This is actually, now we're in March. Yay, we've made it to March, everyone. Mareebs will be 1 year now. Almost 1 year, just short of 1 year. And as I mentioned, Kuchava's son was born in October 2019. So he's well over a year now, and I imagine he will be given a name. If he has a name already that's not Batman, I'm not aware of it. But yes, he's slightly older than Mareebs. And of course, the future for a male leopard is to disperse. Where they disperse, how far they disperse, it depends on so many factors. Pressure, other males, environment. They may not go far, they also may go far. But for both Mareebs and little Batman here, it's in their sort of biological makeup to disperse.
Yeah, because now I'm here already. Yeah, but he's already.
I'm just letting the other vehicle know which way to go so that they don't bombard the sighting. It's very, very difficult in the long grass. Okay, of course, I am not going to go anywhere. I'm overjoyed to see this pair. So I'm going to sit and enjoy, and we're going to send you lot over to sleep.
Welcome back, everybody. Well, we've been working this area quite well. Unsuccessfully so far. The area has dried out a lot. We sort of worked the area for where the lioness was, and she wasn't there. We moved along the drainage line just to see where she might have gotten to, and there's sort of an area that she hasn't come out of. Well, the cubs never came out of, but in the depression where we were just a few moments ago, there is lots of warthog tracks. Baby warthogs, adult warthogs, and these hornbills. Let me move forward. Maybe we can actually show you the burrow. Those birds were playing for us before, the white crested helmet shrikes were having a really good time. I don't know what they were doing exactly. So we found that lioness this morning from the Ngala Private, lying up just here. And here, over there, yeah, there is the burrow. It's not very easily seen at the moment. Oh, have I got it completely? Yeah, so it's just on the right there. It's not very easily seen unless you go in. And so I'm pretty sure she was waiting for warthog. And the warthogs were out and about, and the tracks all over the drainage line down ahead in front of us. Lots of little piglets. And so I'm almost certain she's around here somewhere. Doesn't look like she's crossed back towards where she's left the cubs. So, we just thought we'd give it a little listen for a little while, seeing as everyone else is having so much success with leopards this afternoon. It seems like there's leopards falling out of the trees. Well done, Lauren, and finding Kachal. I can't remember when last I saw her. So it's possible she's very close by. The vegetation is very thick and very hard to see. We often do track and investigate our predators where they've gone, but when they are cub tracks, you don't. You go from one side to where the tracks go in, you go all the way around. If they don't come out, they're in there. We found a little access to drive in to the drainage line, and we found a very nice little patch that it seemed as if she'd been lying down and possibly suckling. Very nice to see in the track there, but hopefully we're going to find her again. Hudson, age 6. You want to know what is my favorite animal in the bush? It is, or age 5, I'm sorry. It is the honey badger. And some people out there have not seen a honey badger before. And that is okay, because I have a book that has got a honey badger in it. I just have to remember the page. Honey badgers, Hudson, are the coolest animals in the world. They're not scared of anything. They wouldn't be scared to walk in, chase a lioness away. not scared at all. Here we have the honey badger, top left. They are black and white like a skunk, and they do have certain secretions that they can give off, but for the most part they are just so they just got so much confidence. They're not afraid of anything. I've seen a honey badger run into a pride of 20 odd lions, and well, the lions all let it go. They said, oh, hang on, we're not going to try and eat you, we're going to run away. And so they let the honey badger leave, exuding confidence. Very hard to kill, very tough skin, and very hard for a leopard to actually get the teeth around the throat, and it fights back the entire time with long claws and pretty sharp teeth. It's a very smart animal as well. We've actually got a skull. We used to have a skull in the tent of a honey badger, and you have a look at how large the brain case area was, and this animal is able to figure things out. I've seen one figuring out how to get a monitor lizard out of a tree, and it was quite something to witness that. Honey badger 1, monitor lizard 0. Here we go. Very nice. Well, that is my favorite animal, just because they are so cool. They've got such attitude. They really are not afraid of anything, which I find quite amazing. Okay, we're going to just roll down here, just really hoping that she might pop out, but you know how these things go, everybody. She might just be sleeping, or she might have crossed over here where it's quite hard and we can't see. She might also have gone and gotten the cubs and taken them elsewhere. You never know, but we're going to try anyway. Okay, so let's show you those tracks now with the little piglets, so that you know what I mean when I say piglet tracks. Now, there's no Winnie the Pooh tracks with it, it's just piglet tracks. Little trotters. I'm going to show you the size of the piglet tracks with that of the lion. You there? All right there, Gert? Okay, so there we have a lion cub track over there, right at my finger. There's the lion cub, and these are little piglet tracks. So some of the piglet tracks have gone left, some have gone straight. There's quite a few of them. They went straight down this drainage line towards where that burrow is and where the lioness was. You can see lots of tracks going there. It's possible at one of these stages she bolted out and caught one, but we don't know. We can't see it. We can't see her, and we can't hear the sounds of feeding. A leopardess or a lioness on their own, generally you won't, or a male leopard as well, you don't really hear the noises. They're not growling. Pride of lions makes noise as they fight over the food. Quite often I've found many prides of lion feeding due to the noise. My last marshmallow session actually was due to me hearing lions feeding and deciding to try cross the drainage line and getting stuck. Those of you who don't know what the Marshmallow Club is, it's something that was deemed a few years ago, those people who get stuck in the mud and need to get assistance. It's all good getting stuck, but if you can't get out on your own and you need help, then you are then part of the Marshmallow Club. It is a very, very cool award to have. Well, a far better reward to have this afternoon is a pair of leopards.
Now he went up a tree, he went up a marula tree, which is absolutely great news. He's got the kills stashed off to the left, and he's relaxing, but look at the size of him. Davy also can't believe it. The last time Davy saw him was a very long time ago. This cat is huge. Look at that paw. Humongous. He did leave behind a leg for Mom, which is lovely. And Mom is currently back where we originally had them, with a leg. Oh, what a gorgeous cat. Extremely handsome. It's going to be a heartbreaker, that's for sure. But in all seriousness, he is very, very large. And of course, what we forget, even I forget it, is the remarkable size difference between male and female leopards. And we get asked a lot, how do you tell the difference between male and females? Well, I mean, other than the really obvious genitalia, the size difference. Oh, look at his tail doff. Isn't that sweet? It's the remarkable size difference. Males are huge, and it's really only when they're mating that you can see the size difference and how large it really, really is. The females are very petite. Even Tlalamba, who's a stocky girl, she's still very petite. Tandy's tiny, especially when you see her in comparison to a male. Now, excuse the rain roof. It's very difficult to position the car when you've got a rain roof on. I think he feels a little bit safer up a tree. Okay. Now that is a shot. Are you loving that shot, Dobby?
Yep.
I think the answer is no. Okay, let me try. Bear with me. I have to swing around here. We should be able to get him. There we go. I wonder if Mom will come and join, or whether she will just stay on the ground and enjoy her leg bone. We just have so many leopards around right now. Apart from Tlalamba, and that's a big question mark, they all have cubs. I mean, obviously, Kara is really starting to push away from Shadulu, and Nzutini is starting to push away from Tiani. Even Shasha and Langa will be at that stage where they slowly start to push away a little bit, but there's just cubs everywhere. Even Ikanini. Now, I better actually start my riddle soon. Something I wanted to dive into was grouping animals together. Now, how do we do it and why do we do it? And of course, humans absolutely love boxes and groupings and links and relations. You know humans. But we call a group of animals, it's just below kingdom, and the kingdom is Animalia, called a phylum. Plural phyla. And basically, it's a taxonomic category. Taxonomy is a really fundamental sort of component of looking at animals, zoology, by a Swedish guy called Carl Linnaeus long, long ago. And it's basically how you connect animals together. Now, I just want to quickly show you something before I start my riddle of today. I'm running out of time. A wonderful diagram. Or possibly not so wonderful, depending on how you look at it. Now, this just shows you right here a quick look at phylums. Okay, now this is a tree of life. I've included 10 phylums here, or phyla, sorry, but there's more. This is just the easiest way to look at animals. And if you start at the beginning, we're just going to look at the sponges, Porifera. And this is the most basic level of animals in the kingdom Animalia. And this is based on their level of organization. And it's a cellular level of organization. It's very, very difficult. Very, very different from what you would imagine an animal to be, like the sponges in the ocean, but they're still animals. Then upper level, you move on to organisms that have a more sort of structured grouping of cells, and they form into tissues, and this is Cnidaria. Now you basically just ignore the C. Cnidaria, and this is your jellyfish and coral. And then you move up to an even more complex body design, and this is where the tissues come together to form organs. And you have the platyhelminths, which is your flatworms. You have nematoda, your roundworms, mollusks, and then you have echinoderms, which is like your starfish. Then at the very, very top where we belong, you have your segmented animals. Now, we are probably the most complex level of organization internally, and this is where you'll have Annelida, arthropods, and chordata, which is where humans fit in. we fit in up here. So this is all based on tissues, internal, not intelligence or appearance, internal level of organization. And when you look at the leopards here, they're obviously mammals. They belong with the carnivores. They belong with the felines. So there's different ways to classify them. And it depends how deep you want to go. All animals are grouped together, and that's your most sort of, oh, here we go. Are we going to jump? He's thinking, where's Mom? Pondering what to do. So a phylum is a very broad grouping of animals, and when you actually think of leopards themselves, you will then understand how they're grouped. And of course the species name is Panthera pardus because they belong to the genus Panthera, which comes under the felines, which comes under the carnivora, which comes under mammals. So in order to really discover about the organism, you better start in broad. What phylum do they belong to? Then what class do they belong to? Then what family? Then what genus? Then what species they belong to. It's sort of a process. If you really have no idea, if you came across an animal that you don't recognize at all, and trust me, there's some bizarre ones, start broad, look at the phylum. Now that I've done my intro, I am going to come to my riddle, but I have to read it off my phone, otherwise I'll end up giving the game away. I am one of these people that ends up telling the punchline of a joke before I've actually told the joke itself. Okay, let's move, Bobby. I imagine he's just going to head back over to Mom. The kill's stashed safely in the tree. I can see him. He's there. You got him? Where are you going, boy? I quite liked it when you were up the tree. Yeah, he's looking for Mom. Okay, we'll just maneuver here through the long grass and hopefully we'll be able to catch up with them.
It's the month of March and WildEarth is offering you the chance to win a brand new prize. Sign up to be a WildEarth explorer and you could win a 5-day eco-training ranger experience for 2. Eco-training is the pioneer and leader in safari guide and wildlife training in Africa. The lucky winners can look forward to approaching dangerous game on foot, tracking and 4x4 driving, learning about animal behavior, and even spending one night sleeping out under a blanket of stars. In addition, you will also get the exclusive opportunity to join the WildEarth team on the broadcasting vehicle. Sign up to be an explorer now, and it could be you that wins this life-changing experience. Terms and conditions apply.
The reason why we see that wildebeest by himself is because he's a male, or a bull, as we typically would call him. And what he does is that he marks and defends an area. Essentially, he is looking for the ultimate piece of land or prime property. Needs to have good grazing, needs to have a water source close by. And not too far away from here, there's a sickle bush thicket that would provide just enough shelter from the wind and the rain.
My name is Steve, and one of my favorite things at WildEarth is getting questions from you. The type of questions that I really like are those ones that really help us to unpack and understand and really integrate the ecological knowledge and fully appreciate the importance that animals such as these Cape buffalo bring to the ecosystem. If you want to ask a question on WildEarth, you're going to have to register on the website. But once registered, just head on over to the live safari page and enter your question under the live feed.
Guys, have a look at what we've got. This is better than my birthday. Look at that. This is the first time that I ever see cubs this small. This is so special. This has officially just become my best sighting of all times.
Tune into WildEarth every single day. It's in your nature.
Welcome back, everybody, and we've got finally these giraffes approaching the waterhole again on this side. We have once again repositioned quite to a very nice spot here on the edge of the water. You can see this giraffe is just along coming to the edges of these bushes on the way to the water point, as is on his way slowly but surely. The females have come off to the other end of these bushes to the side where they've been coming through as well. It's a bit of a tough one trying to see them at the moment because they're on the other end of these tree lines over here at the moment. But yeah, we're having to see these guys still yet coming through to the water point. You can see the heads popping out there and amongst the tops of the branches of some of these lighter colored giraffe. But just as we were talking about the coloration earlier and so on, just so beautiful to see the different colors right from the beginning, where we saw that beautiful dark bull in the beginning until this stunning white lighter type of colors coming through here. Now, another thing in the Kalahari with these giraffe being so light in color is that the amount of white present on the bodies could also be, well, are definitely in a situation where it's reflecting quite a lot of sunlight away from their actual bodies and so on, and the darker colors could potentially attract a bit of sunlight. So the thing is that you get again a type of convectoring, curreting situation that's potentially happening on these bodies like that, but definitely the white colors are for sure reflecting off. Now you can see these giraffes are disappearing a bit more behind this bush as well. I just want to once again try to reposition, and we just go a bit forward and see if we can get another nice shot here in the front. And then I think after that we, excuse me, going to continue. Sinak, you wondering if giraffe are generally in a grouping together? Look at that, just so beautiful. Now your females you would always find in herds, well, shall I say towers together, and so it gets to a point that these towers will generally stick together for safety as their eyesight is really, really great. And towers of giraffes are generally happening in amongst about 10 to 12 to 15. The biggest I've seen was actually this morning. Well, it wasn't the biggest tower I've seen, but yeah, it comes down to formations of roughly up to about 20. I think I've seen a couple of, 2 years ago, I've seen a herd of about 30 giraffe together, but been on a proper journey walking together through the bush. As we can see, just so beautiful seeing these light-colored giraffe walking through, surviving the Kalahari heat. Sam, you wondering if crocodiles could predate on giraffes while they're drinking at waterholes? Sam, yes, for sure. Young giraffes, you could easily get it to a point where they could be caught up by a big adult crocodile. But in the Kalahari, it's the wrong climate and the wrong environment for crocodiles. So you don't really have any crocodiles, especially on Tswalu. We don't have any crocodiles. So giraffes are, and any animals that comes through to the water points are pretty safe from crocodilian point of view, as well as the hippos in the waters. We also don't have hippos in the Kalahari because it's just completely the wrong climate for them. But how special it was actually for us to spend well over an hour with these giraffe at this water point around this area, just to be able to see them coming through from different variations of colors and seeing different movements of approaching the water holes as well. It took them a full hour to approach this water and actually coming past here as well. Look at that gorgeous two young giraffes just lining up together there. So beautiful. So from these gorgeous giraffes, we're going to continue going further south and see if we can reach those cheetahs that our tracker is tracking at the moment. And see if we can reach up with our cheetah further down south. For now, we're going to send you back over with this gorgeous view to another fantastic geopattern animal with Lauren.
Now we've came down the tree, we're sitting on top of a termite mound and we're staring at Mom. Mom has now gone up the tree. So they've swapsies. We haven't got a view of Mom from here, but she's now gone up to the kill and now we're just looking at her. Mom, taking my food. Can you believe it? So just going back to the classification of animals, I think it's really important for people to sort of learn the phylas, or at least the main ones, to understand how animals are connected. It's not just because they look alike, there's a lot more to it than that. I mean, I don't look anything like an elephant, I hope. I mean, I feel like an elephant some days, but you know. But of course, it's nothing to do with appearance or size. It's all to do with the way we're built internally. So I'm going to give you all your first clue. Are you ready? So who am I? What animal am I? And let me just say this can be on land, in the air, in the ocean, any organism in the kingdom Animalia. I have a soft, unsegmented body. And I am in the same phylum as one of the world's most intelligent animals, who is also very colourful. That's clue number one. More clues are coming. Davi didn't get this. I tested it out on him. So it's a challenging one, so note that down. I have a soft, unsegmented body, and I'm in the same phylum as one of the world's most intelligent animals, who is also very colourful. More clues to come. Lauren, you are asking, do Kutrava and Kalamba know that they are related? That's a tricky question to answer, but I highly doubt it. I doubt it. They're not from the same litter. Kutrava's a lot older than Kalamba. And they will understand one another's chemical signature, like a little barcode that they leave behind in their scent. They will understand that in their own way, in their own perception. But I do not believe that they would understand that they are related. From sisters or cubs from the same litter, I do believe they will understand that they're related, but definitely not Kutrava and Kalamba. Kutrava was born in 2014, which is a lot older than Kalamba. But they will definitely know one another, and Kalamba lately has been spending time all over the place. Her territory's changed. She's definitely pushed further down south, not spending as much time up in Buffelshoek, but now spending a lot more time down south, even on Little Gowrie, Torchwood. So they'll definitely know one another, but I don't think they'll know they're related. And that's how it's really important that you recognize individuals of your own species. So they absolutely will know one another. Marna, you're saying those eyes are magnificent. Isn't he just so handsome? He is just such a lovely boy. He's getting fat. Look at that neck. He's a growing boy, completely black nose. And of course, we don't know who the father is, unfortunately. The most... He's listening to us. I don't know who your daddy is. The two sort of most likely suspects, I think quarantine is the most likely suspect, or it could of course be Mulwati. Mulwati seems to be doing very well, and we actually had a conversation about him the other night, although It's frustrating that we don't get to spend time with them. He does appear to be becoming slightly more relaxed, but although it's frustrating, he's actually doing incredibly well as a male leopard because he seems to be mating with many of the females, and I mean many, and he's also extremely elusive. So he's doing his job, he's being territorial, he's getting all the females, he's constantly expanding his territory, and yet we never see him. And generally speaking, although that's frustrating for us, male leopards and female leopards are elusive. They are shy animals. We're just so lucky here in the Sabi sands that we get to spend so much time with them. But as a species, all across the world, all the subspecies, of which there are 9, it's not really common to spend time with leopards like that. They are shy, they are elusive. They don't want to be seen. So Milwaukee's actually a very good job. Unfortunately, I can't get a view of both of them for now, and we're only looking at Kuchaba's bum, so I think we'll stay looking at him for now, but I would love to see them both in the tree together. Many of you are sending in some answers. The riddle is long from over. There's more clues to come. I shall wait until we give you more clues. But I'm happy that some of you are trying. In fact, let's just go on to the next clue. I've got it written down just so that I don't give the game away. I'm so bad for that. Okay, so let's link it to the African bush. We've already got one clue about the body in the phylum. So I am also in the same phylum as one of the slowest moving hermaphroditic gastropods that are seen out here in the low veldt in summer, who carry their own homes on their back. So I think by now you should have an idea of what the phylum is. And I am only found in the ocean. Ta-da! It's an oceanic animal. There you have it. We'll give you 2 more clues and we'll see if any of you manage to get this organism. It's actually been a really long time since I've spent time with the leopard. I didn't have a very lucky stint the last time. And it's nice to see that Batman here is relaxing. They've got to learn the landscape, they've got to learn the lay of the land, understand that vehicles don't mean any harm, understand noises, understand scents. But it's normally around the 18-month mark that you will see a male leopard start to sort of leave their mum. And it happens, it's sort of progressive. They'll leave and then they'll come back, they'll leave and then they'll come back, and then they will finally leave and disperse once and for all. So we don't know how long we will actually get to see this leopard. But we're going to sit tight here, and for now, I believe Andrew has found a bird.
Thanks, Lauren. We got a beautiful bird over here as a lilac-breasted roller perching in a tree. When we drive along this road, it's actually flew off and land right in a little twig tree. And it's kind of like looking around so much because it's doing its hunting this time, and unfortunately it's gone away. We now checking the eastern boundary. So our skittish leopard has disappeared as that second vehicle responds, so she was not comfortable anymore, so she moved off. So we didn't actually off-road because it's wet and Anyway, it's very skittish. We don't want to disturb that young leopard. But hopefully we'll come back to the road again where we can search around for it. So I'm going to continue checking the eastern boundary and see if we found anything. I'm going to be sending you across back to Lauren with this leopard.
Having the best afternoon. I'm not sure if Batman here is. Would like him to go and join his mom. Seeing 2 leopards in a tree is really quite magnificent, and of course leopards are arboreal. They do spend time in trees, and from what I personally find out here, due to the nature of them having different personalities, some leopards prefer to be in the tree at all times, especially females, I've noticed. And it's safer up there. Really only other sort of predators that can get them would be other leopards or potentially lions. Lions are nowhere near as agile or graceful at climbing trees. They can climb trees, but they're heavier, they're bulkier, and their shoulder blades are not quite well adapted like a leopard's. So they will climb trees, but they're really not so graceful at it. So leopards are really well protected in the trees. It's a good vantage point. They can see, they can stash their kills. It really makes a big difference. But they will spend time on the ground too, of course they will. It's just a lot easier for us to find them when they're up in the tree. Okay, I'm going to give you the next 2 clues, okay? So you understand, I hope many of you have got which phylum this organism belongs to. To identify prey, I have 2 highly sensitive tentacles on the top of my head, but they are not horns. In fact, they are named after one of the herbivorous species of the big 5, but I am carnivorous. So those sensitive tentacles that are on the top of the head are named after one of Africa's big 5. And why I say Africa is because you get the big 5, the little 5, the oceanic 5, you get all sorts of 5s now. My name may make you blush as it sounds like I am not wearing any clothes. Okay, everyone, that's it. Tell me, what organism am I? And or you can tell me what phylum I belong to. I'm very much looking forward to hearing your answers. I'm going to do one a day. I just find it so fascinating when you start to understand how many different animals out here are related and how you put them together. Elton, sorry, one more time with that question. I didn't quite catch it. Cutie? Tootie.
I think so.
Cutie, tootie. Tootie, you're a cutie. They don't actually push necessarily. It's a mixture of things. So mom will become slightly more aggressive. And you will see mom snarling a lot. And to us, to humans, it looks a little bit, well, it looks exactly that, aggressive. We feel sad. Why is mom doing that? But that's very much a human perspective. Mom she has to ensure that our cubs go to independence. He can't stay with mom his entire life. He has to go, he has to mate, he has to become territorial. He will also be undergoing very minor hormonal changes. And of course, those hormonal changes will get greater and greater as he gets older. There's also a biological innate drive in him. Just like if you remember Hosanna's a perfect example where he did disappear. Then he came back again. And then he disappeared because he was exploring. He was trying to learn the lay of the land. He was trying to figure out, okay, I need to go, but where do I go? So it's a mixture of hormones, mom being aggressive, mom spending less time with him. She's not sort of coming to get him, she's not calling on him so much, and of course a biological drive. Now we're just going to give you a view of mom. I think we can get it from here, Dad. Can you work with this? There we go, she's perfectly sitting under the rain roof. How lovely. So yes, it's a mixture of things, and it's not sort of a clear decision. He won't just go and never come back. He's got to learn, he's got to explore. Is there any vacuums? Is there any areas nearby where there's a vacuum with no male leopard? He may have to battle, he may have to fight. He's going to come into competition, he's going to meet male leopards who don't want him there. And how is he going to know if there's a vacuum? Scent and audio. Is there a male leopard calling in this area? Is there a freshly scent-marked trail that he can follow that will show him there's a dominant male leopard in the area? Do not come here. Will he go south? Will he go east? Will he go west or north? All really depends where he can find space. And his territory most likely will start off small, and his behaviour won't completely be territorial to start with. He'll sort of start to learn how to saw, and he'll be scent marking long before he goes. And with the hormonal changes, with the rise in testosterone, that sort of chemical cue within his body is going to change his behaviour. So biological cues then affect behaviour. And then, of course, once the testosterone really has kicked in, he's going to be ready to mate. He's going to be looking for the ladies, and that's a big part of a male leopard setting up his territory. He wants as many ladies as he can within his domain. The more ladies he has, the more opportunities he has to mate. And then, of course, the more he can secure his bloodline. It's all about your own bloodline. And although Charles Darwin, long ago, fantastic theory, survival of the species, that wasn't really what he meant, essentially. It's not really about an organism trying to ensure the survival of their own species. Can you hear the baboons? I'm not sure if you can hear them, but the baboons are calling. Ba, 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 ba. I wonder if they can see the leopards. That's what she's looking at. But yes, it's really about the survival of your own bloodline. Charles Darwin had that right, but it was just sort of taken out of context, and it makes you think an organism is trying to survive to ensure the survival of their own species. They are not, I can assure you. It's about the survival of your bloodline. Hear the baboons. He's getting a little bit nervous. We don't have a view of him. Sounds like a dog, doesn't it? Okay. A lot of you got my riddle right. Fantastico. Congratulations to Owlman, Alan M, Stuck in Bed, Carol Flea, Jennifer Page, and Michael Martin. Well done. The answer is a nudibranch. There you have it. And I'm just going to quickly show you what a nudibranch is in case some of you are thinking, huh? What? This is what a nudibranch is, and it will make a lot more sense. It's an organism that you find in the sea, but it's a mollusk. It's in the phylum mollusk, or mollusca, and it's a gastropod, very closely related to the African land snail, and this is what a nudibranch looks like. Nudi is actually broken up from two words, Latin nudus, which means naked, which is why he's blushing, and the actual second part is Greek branchia, which is the gills, and this refers to these gills that look like branches, and that's how they sort of secondary breathe underwater. Very bizarre but gorgeous looking organism. Excuse my drawing, it's not very colourful, but if you actually Google them, they are colourful, and these are the sensory tentacles called rhinophores. So well done, everyone. Well, not everyone, some of you. It's a nudibranch. I have another riddle for you this morning. Kuchava doesn't look very impressed with my riddle. She also doesn't look very impressed with the baboons. really sounds like dogs barking. I wonder if they can see her. He's lying flat on the termite mound, but she's visible up the tree, and I wonder if that's why they're shouting. And this is actually a perfect example. We can hear the baboons behind us, but we can't see them. So when we do hear baboons or monkeys alarm calling, they're so highly visual that they can actually see a predator or a threat from far away. So we heard the monkeys alarm calling, and we know it was Tandy this morning, or actually it could have been Katrava, but there was no leopard around, and it's most likely the monkey was looking very, very far away, and the monkey could see the leopard, but we could not. We're going to sit tight as long as we can. He's disappeared from the termite mound, so hopefully we'll have them both up a tree very soon.
On a bushwalk, we become part of the natural landscape. Walking enables access to the smaller parts of nature, such as bugs, spiders, and flowers in much greater detail.
These are the winged buds right here. Isn't it just amazing?
I've never seen anything like this before. It is so beautiful. Look at those little legs.
Now, it's your turn to go on a bushwalk. Join us from Pridelands as we reconnect to the place that first taught us how to be human.
Our bodies are made up of about 60% water, which means that in a very short space of time, you can dehydrate completely. A relatively efficient way of collecting water early in the morning is to take an absorbent material like a sock and to walk through the grass, absorbing the condensed dewdrops on the grass. Once the material is saturated, you can then squeeze it out into a container, or you can suck it out directly into your mouth.
Hi everyone, my name's Daniel Fisher and I'm going to be your guide this afternoon. I'm looking really forward to taking you through and showing you all the beautiful places here at andBeyond in Ngala. If you have any questions, please register on our website. Once registered, go to the live page feed and post your questions underneath the live feed. Join me on my next safari through andBeyond in Ngala on WildEarth. Send me live questions through the WildEarth website and I'll answer them live from the African bush.
Look at this, the little one is up and about. Certainly hasn't had enough milk at this age. No amount of milk is enough. Oh, Corky. Too sweet. Oh, look at this. That is stunning.
Tune into WildEarth every single day. It's in your nature.
My name is Moritz and I come to you live every day from Tswalu Kalahari here in South Africa. My favorite thing is probably the predators. And as you can see, we're looking at some of them right now. These are the kings of the Kalahari. Spending time with the cats, it's just a privilege. And I love their behavior, you know, the more that you look at them, just the power and the sheer beauty and elegance of them.
Catch up with the guides daily here on WildEarth.
Hello everybody, welcome back. We've worked that area quite thoroughly, but unsuccessfully. We just kept checking around and doing some loops and seeing what was happening, but no alarm calls, no sounds. I reckon that lioness maybe made a kill somewhere nearby and would be feeding on it, and she'll go back to her cubs at some point, if they are still there. So it's starting to get dark, so we move out of the area and we're going to head over to Impala Plains and see what we can find that side. The rain is starting to drizzle slightly. call there from a very common Palearctic migrant, just at your, you see him just on this little stumpy. There he is. Oh, of course he's gone. Wonderful red-back shrike who's now decided to fly off. He was on the bush there. Just going to go back. Something else over here. Oh, some elephants in the distance. A little bit far, I'm afraid. Let's see an elephant back from far away. The shrike is back though, I can hear him. I'll allow you to just listen. I'm going to stop here. There he goes. He's flown off. It's a very common alarm call that we hear. But it's the very common call. The red-backed shrike. They don't breed here, you see. There's no need for them to be territorial. Go all the way up to Scandinavia. I'd love to go to Scandinavia one day. Allow you just to listen to it for a moment. The bird calls.
Thanks, Steve. We got an owl scrub here, just came out of that thicket. And they are very much nocturnal animals, the scrub hare out here. And now it's coming about to started to move around because the sun now disappeared. And the dusk is about to take place. It looks like it's a bit early for it to come out. Because hunger takes place when they hide for so long, the whole day. Sometimes they can come out in the daylight, but they prefer at night rather. And most of the animals that move at night, these are one of the prey species for most owls, and they a leopard as well. But they play very well camouflage at night when they come out. For their own survive. pretty much listening to these birds calling about. They have a beautiful long ears as well, and they eat grass when they come out at night. So they are vegetarian. And they're underweight 2.3 kg when they're fully growing. A small little thing. So I'm going to leave this crop here. Move about. I'm going to be sending you across to Tswalu to give everybody this update.
Welcome back, everybody. So we have come much further south. Actually, as you can see, we on a quite a rough road here with a bit of corrugation on it. We've come much further south, trying to see if we can't get some more cheetah tracks crossing over in these areas. But yeah, we have had the tracker now in the blocks north of us saying that the tracks had come further south as well. So yeah, we're continuing driving here and yeah, hoping to see them obviously on the edge of the road here as we go, coming through this area. And so the thing is that these cats, I mean, it's crazy to think about how far cheetahs can walk in the Kalahari and how far they can do it on a stint. Oh, there's something that's just on the edge of the road here. Let's just try to reverse here. I don't know if that little guy is going to be sticking with us for too long. Maybe just out of curiosity level, might be popping out. So just on the red mount, there was a little, looks like one of the wild meerkats just popped up his head here, over here on the red mount, on the left-hand side of the bush here. So it looks like he's right there. So it looks like he just popped up his head. It looks like there's a bolt hole, which is where the spring hares, it looks like a spring hare burrow that was actually abandoned. And it's gotten to a point where these meerkats, you see, meerkats in their territories, like cheetahs and like most of your other animals with having big territories, wherever they're foraging and moving around through certain areas, wherever there's a form of disturbance coming through in a certain given point, then it comes down to that fact that abandoned spring hare burrows is the typical escape route that could be possibly happening there. So yeah, it pretty much comes down to that, a safety escape route. What I want to do is, just out of interest, like, let's just see if this little guy, as you've just witnessed that squirrel in your previous destination, be very nice actually to see if we can get this guy popping out. So I'm going to try to keep a bit quiet just because he's a bit sensitive to sound. Yeah, so it looks like this guy was not really liking the sounds of the vehicle on this corrugated road that we're coming down. And it looks like he's just dropped down for good. So, yeah, we'll most probably move on. But while we had that moment of silence... Ah, there we go, just popping out. Look at that. Just behind the branches. So I'm actually even going to drop my voice a tiny bit more. As you can see, he's a bit shy. There's another one just looking around the corner. And you can obviously see these meerkats. It's a much different story as opposed to the meerkats that you would find around the habituated colonies that we work with every now and again and so on. And the thing with those habituated colonies, obviously they've seen people for a long time. And that's actually our plans for the morning. We're going to try and see if we can find one of those habituated colonies and spend some nice time with them in the morning. But nice to see these little guys just trying to peek around and trying to see out of a curiosity level. These are quite young meerkats. peeking out and around this edge of this bush out from this bolt hole. And I wouldn't be surprised if the entire colony is just dropped down in that position. Now you would actually see that there's a bit of sour grasses around this location. And if you look at these meerkats, you would see that they're actually much darker in color as opposed to the meerkats that's like the rock stars. And it's just because of the presence of the sour grass. The sour grass has presence of a huge amount of sap, like a sap that's around the inflorescence and even at the leaf blades of the grasses. And it comes down to that when they're moving through dense, thick vegetation, from the sourgrass point of view, they would get to a very, very darker color because of that sap. And then obviously with dust and sand clinging to the fur along with the sap, that is what makes them very dark in color in these areas. That's a bit different as opposed to those habituated colonies, but it shows you from that point of view how much are these meerkats a bit more wilder just because they haven't seen vehicles or people that often. You know what, if you look at a size of the property, looking at this game reserve being so big and so vast, it comes down to that point that you cannot easily, it could get to a point actually where you see a colony like this and 3 months go past until this colony ever sees people ever again. So that is why they're very shy. And Tswalu focuses obviously on very exclusive safaris, thinking about that it's on this entire massive property, just about maybe 9 to 10 vehicles out at a time. And that is why we focus so much on tracking events a lot. And you can imagine only 10 vehicles out at a time when it's fully booked. When it's fully booked, it comes down to that point that they would get to seeing a vehicle once in 3 months. Julia, you just commented that these meerkats are playing peekaboo. I couldn't agree more. They are literally just peeking out and about and not really noticing or knowing if they should or would want to trust the situation with our presence being here. We're sitting at about 15 meters odd or so, off away from them on the edge of the bush here. You can see how these guys are, even on that distance, not too happy with us. Well, not in the situation of that we are disturbing them to a form that they feel threatened, as in that's causing a threat at all. As you can see now, as we zoomed out, it is still quite a good distance, and they're perfectly safe in that bolt hole. But meerkats are very curious animals. So you'd often get to a point where they pop out of the burrow system and just check it out and just look and see, even if they're wild ones. And when I'm saying wild ones, just saying that they're lesser used to human presence. Haven't seen vehicles that often, or people on foot. I love it how the black rings of eyes just comes through that little stems over there. But you know what? We're going to continue moving down the road and let them keep on going. As they look like they are quite afraid sitting in that bolt all day. So we're going to continue down the road, see if we can locate on this cheetah further down. It's so incredible actually while you drive down roads like this, while you focus on things like those cheetah tracks coming through a given area like this, and you suddenly come across these gems of the Kalahari in these areas that you travel through. I mean, if you think about the last couple of days that we've driven from one area over to another area, it's just incredible thinking about how it is so diverse, thinking about the 4 different ecotypes that's present on Tswalu, with the different given areas from the mountains that we've just had those beautiful giraffe a bit earlier at the waterhole where we had them all. And so just driving from that area of the mountains and the backdrop of those giraffe all the way across to what we've had now, it's really special seeing the change over there in the given environment. We're going to send you back over to Lauren with her leopard.
sun again. We're now in IR. We've lost far too much ambient light, a little bit earlier than we normally would because it's so overcast, and there's a hyena lurking around. I didn't get a good look at it, but hopefully we can ID it. I'm absolutely desperate to go to the hyena den, but we're also very, very far away. I know many of you like to know the location, so you can see the power line in the background. We're very close to Gowrie Main on Torchwood opposite Chitwa. It's very far away from the den. And it's also been so long since I've spent any time with Kuchava and Son. So we'll maybe stay here a little bit longer and try and see if we can also make the den. He's looking at something. I think it could be the hyena, and I think the hyena has gone straight for when the kill was on the ground. Could probably smell it. Now it's hoisted, but I'm sure there'll be some delicious morsels or scraps that it can pick up. So his road to independence is coming soon. If he is a year and 4 months, if that's accurate, then very soon he's going to be spending a lot more time on his own, exploring. I think he should come to Djuma. Yes. Take over Djuma. It appears that, of course, Mawati's territory covers in Djuma, but surprisingly enough, we don't find male leopard tracks. Now, I didn't get to traverse very far last time due to weather restrictions, but really don't see male leopard tracks anywhere in Djuma. Female, yes. Males, no. So how Mawati is doing this, I do not know. He's maybe creating a odor fence around the perimeter of Djuma. Now this odor fence comes in the form of them scent marking, and it just serves as a warning, not as an actual fence, keep out. It's more as a warning. This is my territory. I am here. If you choose to come in, it's at your own risk. But any species can sort of penetrate the fence. It's not impenetrable, but it will contain a lot of information, and that's its function. So when another leopard comes and smells it, they'll be able to understand, oh, this belongs to that leopard, he's dominant. Yeah, it's Mawati. Okay, I'm maybe not going to cross this threshold. Okay, I may sit here for just a tad longer, and if not, I will bump out towards the hyena den. And for now, we're going to send you across to Andrew.
Thanks, Lauren. Indeed, we've got a part of the hippos over here. Now, it applies the same with leopard territory. They defend their own territory. But also male hippo would do that very much. We're sitting here right now on Pebbleshoek Dam with a few of the hippos. And it looks like they're close to their age, whether they're going to get out, or maybe they're going to wait until it's completely dark. I'm not sure. So now we're on infrared light, which is perfect for animals that don't realize we're watching them, because we're not shining at them. Lindy, so you're asking if the hippo are seasonal breeder? No, they're not actually seasonal, but they prefer a month of a season where it's wet, pretty much. So wherever it's wet, and they breed. Places where it's wet all year round, and they breed pretty much all year round. So they could breed less if it's not much of green, rain, water for them to be. As you can see, they're in this plenty of water here. And they give birth to Jonathan, so you're asking how long do the hippo can live for? So they can reach up to 30, 35 years sometimes. It's a lot of challenge out here. We're in the wild. And these young ones, when they are close to danger, where most of them will run away, left behind the young one, been caught mainly by lions. And the bigger ones sometimes die or fight these bulls for territory. Oh, that's a hyena on a way distance. Just had a little bit of very far distance audio of a hyena, but won't stop. So I'm going to continue checking now with the spotlight. Hopefully we come across something very interesting for everyone. I'm going to be sending you across to Lauren again with a leopard on the mound.
Hyenas pacing up and down. We've just had 2 visuals of it, but oh my goodness, in the dark I cannot ID it. He sees it. He's not as brave as Mareebs. Mareebs seems to think, well, he seems to want to fight every hyena that walks on by. But I wonder if it'll walk again. I'd love to get an ID. Is it a Djuma clanner, or it could be a hyena from another area? I don't know. But of course we can't see, but they can see perfectly. The eyes of the predator, adapted for seeing in the dark. And it's not really a case that they see better than their prey. A lot of prey species also see equally good in the dark, but it gives them, nighttime gives them the advantage of being stealthy, the cover of darkness. Gives them more of an advantage to sneak up on prey. It's cooler. There's lots of advantages to being nocturnal. But a lot of prey species also have incredible eyesight at night time. It's not that they're weaker in that area. I really want a view of this hyena. Can smell the kill. Of course, the kill's now hoisted. It's a really, really good thing that he hoisted it here. Sorry, Elton, one more time with that question.
Cats.
Cats? Okay, I hope I got that name right. It's not really a case of a male pursuing a female, to be honest. Once a female comes into estrus, especially when she's right in the mid-swing of her estrus, she will actively seek out a male, and there's lots of females that are known to leave their territory, to actually step outside of their territory to go in search of a male. She will call furiously, she will scent mark furiously, because of course within that scent, within that chemical signature, that odor fence that I was talking about, that will also signal reproductive status. So if a female is an estrus and she leaves her scent behind and a male comes to smell that, he will understand immediately A, who that leopard is, who that female is, and B, that she's an estrus, and he will know that he has to seek her out. So she'll scent mark all over the place furiously, and she'll also call constantly to attract attention of a male. And if the dominant male in the area is not sort of receiving her or meeting her, she will travel outside of her territory. That's very sort of common for female leopards to seek out a male. A male will go as long as possible following the scent of a female in estrus, as he doesn't have a cycle. He's always ready to mate, or it's not that case for a female. The female's behaviour changes quite dramatically when she's in estrus, and again, it's a biological cue telling her she must mate, now is the time, seek out a male. And even during the mating bout, when you watch mating leopards or also mating lions, it's very, very obvious. She initiates it. She really sort of does something called lordosis. She puts her rump in his face to signal to him it's time to mate. She's also very much in control during the mating. So really, it's actually the females. But if a male does come across the scent of a female in estrus, yeah, he won't give up. There's no real timeline. He will try to find her through listening and, of course, following that chemical trail. And again, it's important they have a low reproductive success, and it's important that when the female is in estrus, that she seeks him out. She finds a male. She cannot waste that. She cannot waste that estrus cycle. But because of the really high density of leopards we have here, whenever a female comes into estrus, she will find a male. But we have a particularly high density of leopards. That may not always be the case. I mean, there's 9 different subspecies across the world. And if the density is low, then you're going to really struggle to find a member of the opposite sex. So I think we are going to say goodbye to our gorgeous Batman here and bumble on towards the hyena den.
Just look at that. It is absolutely incredible. And as far as I can see, that all falls within the reserve. So it is a vast landscape, but we are gifted with these incredible things, you know, the wildcats, the aardvark, you name it. It just keeps on delivering. It's just such an incredible privilege to be out here.
And when you think it could not get better, Mother Nature says, hold on tight.
Oh my word, that is gorgeous. We are cooking on gas this afternoon.
Have a look at what we've got. Look at how this is the best day of my gutting career so far.
We have a baby pangolin, We're just gonna go very quietly. There's your aardvark. And for those of you who've never seen one, this is one of the big safari specials on any reserve.
I'm just holding my cap because otherwise it's going to blow away, and with this storm coming towards us.
Absolutely beautiful to be able to see water flowing in this volume in the Kalahari. Oh, look at that. You can see the structural component of these flowers. It is perfect. Such a treat to be in and amongst these incredible insects. How lucky are we? You can see how close they are to the vehicle. Very curious.
Oh, you can do it! There we go. We made it over. Whew. But look at that view. That's absolutely stunning.
You can see how they're going into stalking mode.
Okay, there we go. This one female is gonna walk straight past the car now. Absolutely stunning. Look at that. I mean, do we just not have the best jobs in the world? That was it.
And once again, we have gone further west on a road that's a bit further north into these blocks closer to the dunes. As you can see, we are actually coming up to a very beautiful dune top. And but yeah, we unfortunately haven't had luck furthermore with those tracks crossing further into these areas. So we are kind of losing light now completely, actually, for the trackers to see the light on those tracks furthermore. But we're going to continue driving into these dunes and just see what we can find on these dune tops, because it's a gorgeous time of the day to possibly find cheetah just scouting over the dunes in the plain sections and so on. But first, we're going to show you a gorgeous view coming over these dunes. So just want to switch off here for a tiny bit, just looking at that gorgeous sunset that we've got there in front of us on top of the dune. And a huge amount of animals actually in this dune street in front of us again. So I'm going to give us about 15 to 20 seconds or so of silence, just adoring that gorgeous sunset. And then we'll continue driving into this dune street with all of this beautiful, stunning antelope. And it's like the sky is just on flames. It's just so beautiful seeing that orangey, reddish, pinkish colors coming through the clouds over there. As you can see, cloud build up in the west again. Very similar to last night. Kyle, you are wondering if the sunsets in the winter are just as beautiful. You know what, Kyle? You get these stunning, gorgeous cold front clouds that comes through once every 3 weeks to 4 weeks or so in the Kalahari. In fact, over the entire Northern Cape province, you would get quite a bit of these. Well, it's like every 3 to 4 weeks, as I said. Every now and again, you get them coming over. And then because there's the type of clouds that you get from cirrostratus to stratus to a vague cumulus cloud formation from those cold fronts that comes through, you would get that beautiful pink, red, and stunning formations of golden yellow that comes through in wintertime. So yes, you get the lightning features with the stunning orangey, golden, reddish colors in summertime, versus wintertime you get that proper cold front, stunning colorations, formations on these over these dunes, especially looking out to the west. The Kalahari definitely never ever disappoints with those sunsets and even sunrises coming through. It's like some of the best I've seen in my life. And it's also just because we're in a desert environment, and in this environment, because of the dust particles being reddish in color, it adds and plays a huge role in the coloration of the entire picture coming in together. But that's so gorgeous to see that colors coming through in the clouds. Don't know if you can hear the barking geckos just starting to raise their volume buttons up. There's a huge amount of barking geckos just calling about. It's like a tapping, clicking sound, almost going tick, 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 tick. But then there's a lot of them going at the same time, almost like what we spoke about last night with the satellite behavior of the frogs calling at the pan. all of these barking geckos doing a very similar type of behavior where they're all calling at once at the same time almost. But also again at these crepuscular times. Real Falcon, you are commenting such a stunning view, and it is indeed. It is really, really gorgeous. So what we're going to do now is we're going to progress down this dune into this next dune street and just take it slowly through this dune street, see if we could potentially get some other cheetah in this area even, just standing out and about for the last bit of light that we have. And then we're going to see all this gorgeous antelope, numbers of game that we're going to get in front here as we progress in this dune street. So let's continue down here and see what we can do looking at this general game. And hopefully be lucky with a very nice cheetah on top of the dune. I mean, that's the... I'm crazy about those type of shots in the Kalahari because it's that typical image of cheetah standing on top of a dune in the late afternoon, sunset formation coming through. I mean, these dunes are just so gorgeous. So we got a very nice herd of springbuck. We can just slowly come past you just to quickly show you that. Very, very nice herd of springbuck coming through. That's just coming off on the side. Yo, look at that. Just numbers and numbers of game as we're coming through here. So fantastically gorgeous. And in saying that, with that beautiful view, we're going to send you back over to Djuma.
Thanks, Johan. So we're now operating with a spotlight, like we just mentioned when we left those part of hippos. And we're going to shine around a little bit just to see what we're going to find in terms of a nocturnal. And this is what we're doing right now. So what I'm planning to go back to where was a skittish young leopard, hopefully would be the bigger one around there. I'm just swimming. We're not sure. So many times when a leopard spend times moving around, they would use roads. So you're asking which animals that they have a best vision at night to see. A nocturnal, most of the time they do. Leopards, lions, genets, those are true nocturnal. They have a very much brilliant night vision at night. So they can also see in a day, but then they won't prefer to do that, move around, where night provides a lot of success for those hunt at night. And that's why when a leopard hunt by looking, sense, hearing. They're sniffing on the ground, pick up some scent, whatever they have moved recently. They're able to smell that still. So I'm going to continue the roads here, driving, see if I find anything. I'm going to be standing here across to Tswalu.
And just look at that. We have all of these beautiful springbuck just happily grazing and so peaceful, just carrying on as they progress into nightfall. So gorgeous seeing all these different females. As you can see, they're starting to pick up on the creepers, the plants on the ground again here, which is making our lives pretty difficult actually when we're tracking, looking for cheetah, and especially tracking pangolin and things in this area and so on. But yeah, coming to that gorgeous picture, just so beautiful. And look onto our left hand side here, where there is actually a very beautiful herd of oryx, which is looking much rather a bit more stressed out in that formation. It looks like something almost spooked them, and there's a bit more of them over to the left hand side. I think it's just one that got a bit of a fright. Sometimes they walk through the grasses and everything, and it gets to a point where they often get a fright by something coming through, especially with that little calf walking in the middle of the herd coming through. You'll see that little calf in that formation is always protected in the middle of the herd, so they're oversensitive, these oryx in this formations, in that formation, just being able to trying to protect those calves, and especially with having a lot of youngsters with females this time of the year, it truly comes down to they need to be sort of oversensitive to protect, and especially get frightened easily if there's like a squirrel or something suddenly jumping out of a bush, or suddenly that was sleeping on the edge of a little shrub and suddenly just jumps off. Sure. Oryx are very, very protective over those horns. All got really good protection mechanisms through that horns that you can see is very sharp and straight, and they're extremely accurate of those horns. And it's interesting in the Kalahari how herbivores, antelope in general, are helping each other out quite a lot, especially as we're seeing these oryx and springbuck feeding together. Heather, you are wondering if both male and female in the sexual dimorphism between male and female have horns. It gets to a point both in this species have horns. All in the Hippo tribe with horns coming through, has horns coming through. As you look at the roan, sable, oryx, all of those guys have horns coming through, male and female. And there's some species, like majority of your antelope, who would actually get to that point. You can see, as we were just talking about the oversensitive situation where all the youngsters are hidden in the middle of the herd, it's almost like they are wondering, what is happening? What's going on? Why is this vehicle standing here? And I don't really think it's just because of the vehicle. You can see that little calf on the right-hand side, sort of on the screen, that was just looking past its bum towards us now. It's literally just checking us out and wondering, why are we standing still for such a long time? And then at the same time, I heard quite a lot of jackals shouting out and about. So they most probably just wondering what's happening. And you're asking, why would the females need to have horns? The territorial bulls in a herd would, basically come and go between the herds as it is, and they will be having their territories quite predominantly, and the females will only come through those males' territories every now and again. So there's never really males most of the time with the herds. It's just temporary associations happening. So now what happens is the females are the ones in their big herds that looks after the calves. And that is why I was mentioning earlier, especially like a big pack of wild dogs coming up to a herd like this, they would immediately try to target the soft targets, being the calves. And so then they would circle the calves and the babies in to the middle of the herd, like you would get with elephants, protecting those sharp, straight horns. So it's purely just out of a defense mechanism. So as these oryx are moving off behind the tree there, as we're starting to lose visual, we're going to just look at the springbuck in front of us here again. It looks like they are moving through to the left-hand side, where there's a bit more clearer sections. It looks like that one on the left-hand side of the screen now moving in behind the bush has got a bit of a horn that was broken, and it's bent down a bit by the looks of it. Sometimes oryx goes into these dramatic fights where they do lose their horns and it breaks off. Sometimes makes a deformality where it grows off into a bit of a different direction. So taking us back to the springbuck, it's a beautiful spot just in front of the vehicle that we have here, that we can see now. Just these springbuck happily feeding. Look at all those tails just wagging, so beautiful. So that one that's standing sort of on the other side of the herd, that's a male, a typical territorial male. As you can see, he's a bit more out of the herd, but still at the same time being part of that temporary association, the same as what we were talking about with the oryx. Stunning detail on these springbuck as well. Laura Moore, you are wondering what is the benefits of all these white markings on the springbuck? And that is actually the same with the oryx that you get, and a lot of your desert antelope would have that white markings, and that's a very good question, and well done in noticing it, because that white markings you see, now the soils, as we looked at some of the soils yesterday evening as well, lots of these soils have got rock minerals in them that act like a mirror. And these minerals are typically attracting sharp sunlight as well. So as we are in a very hot climate environment, generally, it gets to a point that you got, like, let's say the average summer's daytime temperature is sitting at 45 degrees Celsius or something like 115 Fahrenheit. You're looking at that sharp sunlight dropping down onto the soils, the soil reflecting that back up into the sky. So you got, let's say, 45 degrees Celsius temperature in, temperature out from the soils would be something like reflecting back into the skies at about 47, 48. So you're thinking about that situation, that white belly is reflecting that heat back into the ground. And the same way it goes with the springbuck, beautiful amount of white in the face, as again, being in a desert environment, they would try to reflect sunlight away from the face as well, as much as possible as they could get to that point. But you know what is so special for me about this is just seeing these numbers and numbers of game just coming through in beautiful masses in this environment. As we just came over that stunning dune top, looked at the sunset, and there's just the whole Kalahari world opened up to a gorgeous scenery. An abundance of animals. It's just stunning to see all of this beauty and the different details, as we spoke about the color variations there as well in this areas. BT, you're asking, how do you differentiate between Impala and springbuck? Now, there is actually quite a lot of differences between springbuck and Impala. So springbuck would have that lighter brown back, the dark brown stripe on the sides, and obviously the white belly. Impalas have got a very vague belly that is like fairly white as well, but it leaps over to a lighter brown to a darker brown back, more or less. So there's a big difference. Impala females don't have horns at all, and both sexes in the springbuck have male and female have got horns in that formation. But yeah, coming down to that very predominant dark brown stripe with the white belly to a light brown back. That is a big difference between springbuck as opposed to differentiating to an Impala that's overall quite just in a bit of an orangey, rusty, lighter brown to darker brown color, but overall very brown in color. Don't know if you guys can hear all of these barking geckos at the moment. Man, it's like a choir around us at the moment. I'm just going to ask us, while we're looking at that gorgeous view of those springbuck, just to push up the ambient once more again, just to listen to all of that happening. It's just so beautiful. Just to ease off into the evening, it's gorgeous. That is just so special. It's like a choir around us right now. And I'm so glad you guys can hear what we're hearing at the moment. It is incredible. It's breathtaking. Looking at the scenery, and we're just surrounded by all these barking geckos. So the crazy thing is that majority of these are males trying to call for females, trying to get their attention. So after this gorgeous scenery and stunning sounds, I think we're going to continue driving a bit further north through this dune street and see what else we can find further north. But yeah, the Kalahari is one of those places that is really breathtaking. Like you would come through an area like this. You could easily drive through an area like this, and you get to a point where you just like you were still driving and you suddenly just get to a stall where it's like, wow, this is pure insanity happening here. In saying that, we're gonna take you over to another beautiful destination. Back to Laura for the update.
Almost at the hyena den. I've turned my lights off. I've got my soft lights on. It's rather late. Oh, hello, scrub here. I do not think this is a good location for you at all. I really think you should get out of here. Let's just see if there's any activity. It is late, but you never know. Negative. No one is home. How sad. Okay, that means we will get out of here, and I will put my lights back on so that I can actually see what sorry, I can't see anything. We don't have reverse lights. Oh, Bobby, you might have to guide me here. I'm doing this completely blind. Let's hope I don't crash into anything. Let's rain on again. Okay, I've got a little bit of light. There we go. Darby to the rescue. Wendy really needs to get some reverse lights. Okay, there we go. We shall leave and try again tomorrow morning. And just talking of tomorrow morning, now that the rain is coming down nice and heavy, there is a time change that I have mentioned already. And just to, sorry, Elton was also talking in my ear there. And just to remind you all that tomorrow, Central African time, our drive will start at 6:30. So you will need to go to Google and figure out what that time is in your country. And it will go on until 9:30. And then in the afternoon, there's also a change. It will start at 3:30 p.m. and finish at 7:30, which means the PM drive is now 4 hours. So get on the Google and figure out what that time is in your country. The times I have just given you is Central African time. Okay. I think we must go homeward bound now. That is the rain started once again. We're very lucky that we stayed dry. Dale, you are 8 years old and you're asking about the hyenas. Now, really, it depends. They're primarily nocturnal, just like the leopards. Nocturnal means you are active at nighttime. Diurnal means you're more active during the day, like us humans. Unless you're a night owl, of course, like Owl Man, who got the nudibranch thing right. So yes, they're primarily nocturnal, which means they will come out at night time. But of course, because they're denning right now and they've got a communal den, you will find the mothers come, and that's why we're getting such incredible sightings with them, because they are spending time at that communal den. They've got to suckle their young, they've got to look after their young. And therefore, we will find them during the day. But when it gets too hot, just like any sort of species out here, they're going to seek shade. Seek shade somewhere nice and cool where they can just sleep off most of the day, and then they can get active as soon as that sun goes down. So I think for now that our drive's a little bit later in the morning, sunset really is going to be the best time for us. But sadly, today's not been lucky in terms of hyenas. But in terms of leopards, it's been fantastically lucky. I'm hoping it rains all night and then tomorrow morning it will be nice and dry for us all. Okay, I am going to head to quarantine, so we're nice and close to home, see what we can find there. And for now, I'm going to send you across to Andrew.
Thanks, Lauren. Good idea, that. Yeah, it's already like drizzling already, so I'm just going to take a moment of silence just to hear what's around and the audio of an animal. So it looks like no audio. It's all a beautiful sound that's coming out of the background. So it's all over frogs where it's drizzling now, or was about to drizzling. Stop a little bit, but maybe it's going to continue drizzling over the night. You know, I was checking on where we left that young Scottish leopard, and was no evidence of her again, or was her or him. Seems too far away for me to be able to tell whether it was a female young one or was a male. So I'm gonna carry on checking it. I'm using a spotlight now. So I'm gonna check a few roads here, and then hopefully we come across any of the nocturnal. That's what I'm hoping to find.
Do you dream of traveling to a far-flung wilderness location where life continues as normal? A place where you can escape to nature and breathe. If you become a WildEarth explorer, then this could soon become a reality. Subscribe today and stand a chance to win regular travel prizes. WildEarth Explorers, it's in your nature.
We get asked quite regularly what are the differences between African and Asian elephants. We caught up with Haresh, who's from Leopard Trails, which is based in Sri Lanka.
Of course, size and weight is the first thing you notice. The African elephant is much bigger than the Asian elephant. Tusks in the Asian elephant, it's a very small percentage of male elephants only who have tusks. I was told that there's a theory that the African elephant's ear is in the shape of Africa. The Asian elephant has a much smaller ear. The elephant represents the bush and the jungle in Sri Lanka in a quintessential manner, and I think it's very important that we do whatever we can to protect them.
Hi, my name is Tristan Dix, and I am a guide here at Djuma Private Game Reserve for WildEarth. We love connecting you to the African bush, and we always look forward to all of your questions. If you want to ask a question on WildEarth, you'll need to register on the website. Once registered, go to our live safari page and submit a question below the live feed. Catch up with me on WildEarth.
The croc is still holding another one there. It's holding from the hindquarters. I would really want. The wildebeest cross is trying. The croc is holding the tail. It's holding tight. Oh no. Goodness me. Lucky, lucky wildebeest. You have another day to live.
Expect the unexpected here on WildEarth daily.
Welcome back, guys. So we have just come across, you can see the light has dropped as there's our lights actually, but I'm going to switch off quickly just to show you that gorgeous silhouette that we've just come across, that stunning silver cluster leaf trees on the top of the dune. But so stunning seeing that silhouetting with the clouds in the backdrop of that all. Just so beautiful. But yeah, we just quickly wanted to show you that as we're experiencing. You know what, as you drive through the Kalahari and you go and all of these long distances driving from one dune street to another and all of this vast open spaces, it just opens up such a huge world around every single corner. And every turn you take is just so different. Every crest you go over is so different as well. So what I was about to say with the light, we have started looking already for some nocturnal activity. But anyways, as we come across this stunning silhouette, we just wanted to show you that, as it's just such a beautiful, stunning shot as we came across this. And once again, we've got lovely barking geckos that just came out and about. So, folks, that has pretty much brought us pretty much to our end of our drive, roughly. And we are going to just look at that gorgeous view for a couple of more minutes. And yeah, just so stunning seeing that actually. But such a sad story that we're going to have to leave you, unfortunately, at this point. But yeah, stunning to hear. So I'm going to give you about 10 seconds or so just listening to that barking gecko, so that stunning silhouette, just to ease off into the evening as we're about to say goodbye. So guys, just to remind you a bit again about tomorrow morning safari, we are undergoing a time change in the sunlight coming up in the mornings at the moment. So we will be changing the safari time tomorrow morning to 6:30 a.m. to 9:30 in the morning, Central African time. And to the afternoons, we'll be going over to an earlier drive of 3:30 to, well, shall I say, 7:30 in the evening, still the same time, closing off as we go. But yeah, it was lovely having you guys this evening with us again. And we're about to say goodbye from the stunning views of the Kalahari. We shall see you tomorrow. Once again, enjoy your evening.